Chapter 2962. A bright smile appeared on Bai Gang's face when he heard Huang Jialong's words. Just as Huang Jialong had said, the Flying Tiger clan would not mistreat him since he had obtained a royal-grade celestial sword for the clan. After all, the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion's territory only had one royal-grade celestial weapon before this. Based on this, one could see how important the royal-grade celestial sword was to the Flying Tiger clan's branch. A royal-grade celestial weapon was too precious. There was not a single royal-grade celestial weapon craftsman in the Southern Heaven territory. Most of the royal-grade celestial weapons in the Southern Heaven territory were either royal-grade celestial weapons craftsmen from the past or royal-grade celestial weapons craftsmen from the Southern Heaven territory. Or it could be obtained from a raw stone through stone gambling. For this reason, royal-grade celestial weapons were not sold in the Southern Heaven territory. Even if they had a price, nobody would sell them to outsiders. In the Southern Heaven territory, royal-grade celestial weapons were priceless treasures. Boy! A hoarse voice suddenly rang from Duan Lingtian's body, startling him. Senior Chaos Divine Flame? He could tell the voice belonged to the Chaos Divine Flame. Senior, what's the matter? At this moment, Duan Lingtian was certain the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame were looking for him for a reason. Naturally, they would not look for him for a reason. After all, it was obvious they could not communicate with him for a long time. It was as though communicating with him would deplete their energy, causing them to fall into a deep slumber to recover. I can vaguely sense the aura of a Chaos Divine Earth in the vicinity. It's very weak, so it should be a first-form Chaos Divine Earth, the Chaos Divine Flame said. That's right. I thought I sensed something familiar earlier, but I couldn't confirm what it was. As it turns out, it's the Chaos Divine Earth. As soon as the Chaos Divine Flame finished speaking, the profound divine metal's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears. Boy, you have to work harder to help me find a first-form profound divine metal. That way I'll be able to transform into a third-form profound divine metal. Only then will my senses catch up to the primal Chaos Divine Flames. A hint of displeasure could be heard in the profound divine metal's voice. It was displeased that the primal Chaos Divine Flame was in its third form while it was only in its second form. Just like now. The primal Chaos Divine Flame could clearly sense that it was the Chaos Divine Earth's aura. He felt that the aura was somewhat familiar, but he could not confirm what it was. Chaos Divine Earth? Duan Lingtian was stunned. What's that? That's one of the divine elements just like us. The Chaos Divine Flame said, I, the profound divine metal, Chaos Divine Earth, clear heavens divine wood, and world-cleansing divine water are collectively known as the five divine elements. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to ask more about the five divine elements, the Chaos Divine Flame seemed to have guessed what he was thinking. It continued, I know you are very curious about the five divine elements, but it is not suitable for you to know too much now. Knowing too much won't do you any good. All you need to know is that as long as we continue to grow, it will only be beneficial to you. In fact, if you can help us transform and evolve to our final form. At that time, in the entire Great Thousand World, there will be almost no one who can compete with you. A hint of pride could be heard in the Chaos Divine Flame's voice when it finished speaking. You're really daring to dream about our final forms. However, if that day really comes, no one in the Great Thousand World will be able to compete with this lad. The profound divine metal's voice was slightly indifferent at first, but it was filled with anticipation as it spoke. It was clear it was looking forward to evolving to its final form as well. Naturally, it knew it would be extremely difficult to achieve that. Almost no one in the Great Thousand World will be able to compete with me? Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat when he heard the Chaos Divine Flame's words. Naturally, he knew the Great Thousand World mentioned by the Chaos Divine Flame did not only include the mundane realms and Devata realms, but it also included mysterious realms that were separated from the Devata realms like the Divine Offering Land. Senior, where's the Chaos Divine Earth? Duan Lingtian stopped in his tracks when he recalled the Chaos Divine Earth that the Chaos Divine Flame had mentioned earlier. He wanted to see if he could obtain the Chaos Divine Earth. Currently, he had the Chaos Divine Flame and the profound divine metal in his body. If he obtained the Chaos Divine Earth as well, he would have 3 of the 5 divine elements. It's in the direction you left earlier. The Chaos Divine Flame replied. The direction you left earlier? Doesn't that mean it's in West Lane City? Duan Lingtian was taken aback. Brother Duan? Little Tian? At the same time, Huang Jialong and Bai Gang came to a halt as well when they saw Duan Lingtian suddenly coming to a halt. They looked at Duan Lingtian in confusion. Jialong, Uncle Bai. I want to return to West Lane City to have a look. Duan Lingtian said as he looked at Huang Jialong and Bai Gang. Return to West Lane City? Bai Gang and Huang Jialong were taken aback. Then they asked with a smile, why? Brother Duan, do you still want to try your luck? Something like that. Duan Lingtian nodded. Little Tian, why don't we return first and come back another day? Although he had the support of the Flying Tiger clan, he still felt uneasy with the royal-grade celestial weapon in his possession. He had to hide the royal-grade celestial sword before the powerhouses from the Flying Tiger clan arrived. If he hid the royal-grade celestial sword, no one would be able to obtain it even if they killed him. Under such circumstances, even a desperado would not dare to take the risk. On the other hand, if the royal-grade celestial sword was in his possession, it was likely that some celestial kings would take the risk to obtain it. After all, it was a royal-grade celestial weapon. As a copper flying tiger and a celestial beast, it was not worth it for some powerhouses to take the risk and offend the Flying Tiger clan. However, the value of a royal-grade celestial weapon far surpassed his celestial beast form. It was worth it for some powerhouses to take the risk. Uncle Bai, why don't you and Jialong return first? I'll be back in a while. You don't have to worry about me. If anything happens, I'll send a message to Jialong immediately, Duan Lingtian said. While Bai Gang was still hesitating, a gust of wind blew in front of the three of them. Then, a black figure appeared in front of them. Grandfather Imo. Huang Jialong's eyes lit up when he saw the person. The person was none other than Old Imo. Old Imo, you came at the right time. I'll leave the two of them to you. Bai Gang greeted Old Imo and returned to the imperial palace as quickly as he could. He had to hide the royal-grade celestial sword before the 9th prince of the solitary nation spread the news of the royal-grade celestial sword. Although the emperor of the solitary nation had learned about the royal-grade celestial sword from the 9th prince, Bai Gang was not worried the emperor of the solitary nation would take the risk. The reason the emperor of the solitary nation was willing to be the emperor of the solitary nation was due to his limited innate talent. Even if he had the royal-grade celestial sword, his strength would not increase much. Moreover, he would not be able to keep the royal-grade celestial sword. Moreover, if he took the risk, he would have to give up the bloodline he had left behind in the solitary nation. After all, he was not a sexless cultivator. Therefore, it was impossible for the emperor of the solitary nation to snatch the royal-grade celestial sword from Bai Gang. However, even if the emperor of the solitary nation did not take the risk, it did not mean the sexless celestial kings would not take the risk as well. After all, sexless cultivators were all alone and had no ties. Even if they had ties at most, they would have a disciple who could leave the solitary nation, the profound nether mansion, and the southern heaven territory with them. For this reason, Bai Gang knew he had to hide the royal-grade celestial sword before the sexless celestial kings learned about it. Bai Gang gave a simple greeting and left. This caused Old Imo to involuntarily frown for a moment. However, he quickly relaxed his frown. Old Imo, at this moment, Duan Lingtian greeted Old Imo. Grandfather Imo, why are you here? Huang Jialong asked. Your father was worried Bai Gang would encounter someone who would take the risk, so he asked me to come and help him. It seems like he was overthinking things. Old Imo said, news of Bai Gang's royal-grade celestial sword hasn't spread yet. Not many people know Bai Gang possesses a royal-grade celestial sword. After Old Imo arrived, he accompanied Duan Lingtian and Huang Jialong back to West Lane City. With the Chaos Divine Flame's guidance, Duan Lingtian entered a small shop in West Lane City. It was not far from the 9th prince's shop. Dear customer, the origin stones in this shop have a high chance of containing treasures. If you're interested, just let me know. If you buy a lot, I'll give you a discount. There was only a shopkeeper in the small shop. He welcomed Duan Lingtian and his two companions with a smile on his face. Although Duan Lingtian did not know much about the origin stones, Huang Jialong was. Therefore, he was not worried the shopkeeper would ask for a sky-high price. Is the Chaos Divine Earth inside the origin stone? With the Chaos Divine Flame's guidance, Duan Lingtian finally found the origin stone that contained the Chaos Divine Earth. It's really inside the origin stone. The origin stone that enveloped the primordial divine earth was about 1 foot in size. It was a rectangular origin stone. I'll take this origin stone. Duan Lingtian picked up the origin stone. Then he casually picked a few origin stones that were slightly larger than the one in his hand. I'll take these as well. These origin stones aren't in the shape of weapons. Even if they contain celestial weapons, they'll only be small celestial weapons. Moreover, their grades might not be high. For this reason, They're usually worth less than sword-shaped origin stones and saber-shaped origin stones. After Duanling Tian finished choosing the origin stones, Huang Jialong said as though he was teaching Duanling Tian a lesson. These origin stones are worth about 300 prominent celestial crystals on average. Chapter 2963. The shopkeeper's expression darkened when he heard Huang Jialong's words. He knew he would not be able to make much money from Huang Jialong. Nevertheless, he was still able to make a profit, so he had to continue his business. After spending more than 1,000 prominent celestial crystals, Duanling Tian successfully obtained the origin stone. However, he had no intention of opening it. Instead, he put it away in his spatial ring. "Brother Duan, aren't you going to open it?" Huang Jialong asked with a smile. "I'll open it when I get back. If there's another royal-grade celestial weapon inside, wouldn't everyone know about it?" Duanling Tian said with a smile. "Do you really think royal-grade celestial weapons are as common as cabbages?" Huang Jialong did not expect Duanling Tian to be so worried. He smiled wryly and said, "The royal-grade celestial weapon is probably the first royal-grade celestial weapon to be obtained from an origin stone in the past tens of thousands of years." Royal-grade celestial weapon? The shopkeeper's eyes widened in shock when he heard the conversation between Duanling Tian and Huang Jialong. Earlier, he had heard that someone had obtained a royal-grade celestial sword from a sword-shaped origin stone. Moreover, the royal-grade celestial sword was about to be obtained by the Flying Tiger clan. The origin stone that contained the royal-grade celestial sword was from the 9th prince's shop in the Solitary Nation. The royal-grade celestial sword. They obtained it? The shopkeeper only regained his senses when Duanling Tian and his two companions left the shop. "Brother Duan, let's go in and have a look." After leaving the shop, Huang Jialong looked at the inner market of West Lane City. Although Duanling Tian planned to return to the inner market, he knew there was no rush. Therefore, he followed Huang Jialong around the inner market of West Lane City. The first thing he did was to return to his room and retrieve the origin stone that the Chaos Divine Flame had said contained one of the 5 divine elements, the Chaos Divine Earth. A first-form Chaos Divine Earth? I wonder what it looks like. With a sense of curiosity, Duanling Tian began to shatter the origin stone. At the same time, he swept the shattered origin stone aside and looked at the thing inside the origin stone seriously. During this process, Duanling Tian also extended his spiritual consciousness. A moment later, a yellow tortoise shell appeared under the cover of Duanling Tian's consciousness. The tortoise shell had countless tiny patterns on it, but now the entire tortoise shell was dark and gloomy. Just as Duanling Tian swept away all the origin stones on the surface of the tortoise shell, he couldn't help but be stunned. It was because he saw a wave of dusky yellow radiance suddenly appear on the surface of the yellow tortoise shell. Although it was somewhat dim and was extinguished in an instant, it had indeed appeared. "You're mistaken. This isn't the first form of the Chaos Divine Earth, it's the third form." Although the profound divine metal was speaking to the Chaos Divine Flame, Duanling Tian's heart skipped a beat when he heard the profound divine metal's voice. The third form of Chaos Divine Earth? For the 5 divine elements to evolve into their third form, it would undoubtedly be a difficult process. This could be seen from the Chaos Divine Flame. As for the profound divine metal, it was only in its second form. However, the gray tortoise shell in Duanling Tian's hand was the third form of the Chaos Divine Earth? I didn't expect it to be the third form of the Chaos Divine Earth. Since it's already in its third form, why is its aura so weak? The Chaos Divine Flame's voice rang in Duanling Tian's mind. "Lad, drip a drop of your blood on it. We'll help you fuse it with your flesh and blood. With us around, you don't have to worry about it rejecting you." The Chaos Divine Flame spoke again to Duanling Tian. As soon as the Chaos Divine Flame finished speaking, Duanling Tian pricked his index finger and dripped a drop of blood on the tortoise shell in his hand. The blood continued to flow on the fine patterns on the tortoise shell. Following that, Duanling Tian could clearly feel 2 energies surging out of his body and shrouding the tortoise shell. After a brief moment, a faint earthy yellow light appeared on the tortoise shell. It shone brightly with the golden and gray lights. After a brief moment, the 3 lights trembled. In the end, the golden and gray lights returned to Duanling Tian's body. The earthy yellow light also returned to the tortoise shell. In the next moment, Duanling Tian was shocked to see the tortoise shell had disappeared into his palm in a flash. It was as though it had never appeared. "It entered my body?" Duanling Tian instinctively looked into his body and discovered the tortoise shell in his right arm. At this moment, the tortoise shell was attached to his right arm. It was small and exquisite, and it was tightly attached to his arm bone. At first glance, it seemed as though it had fused with his arm bone. At the same time, Duan Lingtian could see his 99 heavenly veins were continuously infusing his celestial origin energy into the tortoise shell. To be more precise, the tortoise shell was absorbing his celestial origin energy. During this process, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel the celestial origin energy in his body decreasing at a rapid rate. After about 15 minutes, about 20% of the celestial origin energy in his body had been depleted. What is it doing? Duan Lingtian was slightly flustered. If this continued, the celestial origin energy in his body would be completely absorbed by the tortoise shell sooner or later. Don't panic. It has been away from its host for too long, so it's lacking in nutrients. After a few days, it won't absorb your celestial origin energy anymore. The Chaos Divine Flame's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears. During these few days, you should cultivate with it and convert the heaven and earth spirit energy into celestial origin energy. This will help it recover and awaken. Awaken? Upon hearing the Chaos Divine Flame's words, Duan Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief. His eyes lit up immediately. Did this mean the Chaos Divine Earth would awaken in a few days? Duan Lingtian immediately cast aside all distracting thoughts and began to absorb the heaven and earth spirit energy to cultivate. However, he did not open the pendant that contained the divine crystal. In the next few days he did not cultivate to improve his cultivation base. Instead, he cultivated to provide the Chaos Divine Earth with sufficient celestial origin energy. Even if he did not use the divine crystal, he could still provide the Chaos Divine Earth with sufficient celestial origin energy. Over the next few days, Duan Lingtian focused on cultivating in his room. He was completely unaware of what was happening in the outside world. In the outside world, the news of the royal grade celestial sword had spread like wildfire. Almost all of the sectless celestial kings in the solitary nation who had received the news came to the capital of the solitary nation to look for Bai Gang. However, even if he was being stared at by a group of people, Bai Gang still remained indifferent, and he even issued a statement that caused the group of immortal kings and independent cultivators to feel extremely helpless. I've hidden the royal grade celestial sword. Perhaps, one of you might be able to find it, but it might not necessarily be the person who killed me who found it. I don't think anyone would be willing to be hunted down by the Flying Tiger clan after killing me without obtaining the royal grade celestial sword, right? Bai Gang's statement made the sectless celestial kings who had gathered in the capital of the solitary nation feel extremely helpless. Did Bai Gang really hide the royal grade celestial sword? Could he be lying to us? Perhaps the royal grade celestial sword is still in his possession? If you were him, do you think you'd dare to keep the royal grade celestial sword in your possession? Wouldn't that be seeking death? We can't rule out the possibility that he's just trying to trick us. However, who would be willing to take the risk at this time? After all, killing him is equivalent to offending the Flying Tiger clan. No one would be willing to take the risk at this time. It's a pity we received the news too late. We didn't have time to make a move before Bai Gang hid the royal grade celestial sword. Although many sectless celestial kings were willing to take the risk, they did not want to take the risk since they might not be able to obtain the royal grade celestial sword. For this reason, over the next few days, more and more sectless celestial kings left the capital of the solitary nation. Only a few of them stayed behind to observe. 3 days later. It was the day before the imperial court of the solitary nation held the imperial court's auction. Tomorrow was the day the imperial court of the solitary nation would hold the auction. It's finally over. Duan Lingtian sighed in relief when he sensed the tortoise shell that seemed to have merged with his right arm was no longer absorbing his celestial origin energy. At the same time, he stopped cultivating and opened his eyes. The profound divine metal? The chaos divine flame. It's in its third form as well. As soon as Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, a childish voice rang from his body. It was the voice of a young boy who had just learned how to speak. 99 heavenly veins. This is a good host. Both of you get out of this host now. I want this host. The childish voice sounded, clearly satisfied with Duan Lingtian's host. At the same time, it seemed like the childish voice wanted to chase the profound divine metal and the chaos divine flame away. You've got quite a temper. Since you dared to provoke both of us at once, it seems like you won't understand the situation you're in if we don't teach you a lesson. The chaos divine flame's mocking voice rang in the air. Profound divine metal, it seems like we'll have to work together again. That's exactly what I wanted. The profound divine metal's voice rang in the air. In the next moment, Duan Lingtian looked into his body and saw a gray energy surging out of the Chaos Divine Flame. It intertwined with the golden energy that surged out of the profound divine metal before it shot toward his right arm. To be more precise, it shot toward the tortoise shell on his right arm. Just as the two energies were about to collide with the tortoise shell, a layer of khaki light appeared on the surface of the tortoise shell. At the same time, a vast khaki light surged out of the tortoise shell and collided with the energies of the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame. After a few moments, Stop. Aren't the two of you shameless? Even if you want this host, you should fight me one by one, right? Chapter 2964. Although the Chaos Divine Earth was taunting the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame, its childish voice was not intimidating at all. As one of the 5 divine elements, the Chaos Divine Earth had its own pride. Naturally, it would not coexist with the other divine elements. For example, when the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame were still in their second forms, the Chaos Divine Flame had thought about it for a long time before it agreed to coexist with the profound divine metal. At that time, the profound divine metal had offered to help the Chaos Divine Flame devour other Chaos Divine Flames in the future. Only then did the Chaos Divine Flame reluctantly agree. After that, the profound divine metal had fulfilled its promise and helped the Chaos Divine Flame devour another Chaos Divine Flame that was in its second form, allowing it to enter its third form. Although the Chaos Divine Earth sounds like a child who has just learned how to speak, it's obvious it doesn't want to coexist with the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to deduce this from the Chaos Divine Earth's words. However, he was not worried about this at all. After all, he believed the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame, who were also divine elements, would have thought of this and would have a solution. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to guide him to the Chaos Divine Earth. Hee. The Chaos Divine Earth chuckled. The profound divine metal chuckled when it heard the Chaos Divine Earth's taunt. Little guy, it seems like you don't understand the situation. The Chaos Divine Flame and I have come to an agreement to coexist in the same body. We'll work together to deal with the outside world. It doesn't matter if you want to chase one of us out, the other one won't stand by and do nothing. So, you little brat, do you understand the situation now? The profound divine metal's smile widened when it finished speaking. As a second form profound divine metal, being able to oppress the third form Chaos Divine Earth was definitely something to be proud of. Who's the little guy? You're only in your second form and I'm already in my third form. I should be the one calling you little guy. The Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice was filled with anger. However, due to its childish voice, its anger was not threatening at all. With that voice of yours, aren't you just a baby? Isn't it normal to call you little guy? The profound divine metal teased. What do you think? The little fellow was not convinced. Why don't you play with us again? Shameless. If you have the ability, then fight me one-on-one. The Chaos Divine Earth roared. One-on-one? We're both divine elements, but I'm only in my second form while you're already in your third form. I'd be an idiot to fight you one-on-one. The profound divine metal ignored the Chaos Divine Earth's provocation and said, All right, let's get down to business. Little guy, do you plan to stay with us or leave this body? If my guess is correct, the reason why your aura was so dispirited was because your previous host body had died. Furthermore, when that host body was destroyed, you were also heavily injured. The profound divine metal guessed. Upon hearing the profound divine metal's words, the Chaos Divine Earth fell silent for a moment before it said, As one of the 5 divine elements, don't you have your own pride? Don't you feel that being in the same body is a blasphemy to your pride? Pride. The profound divine metal laughed. I used to think the same way, the Chaos Divine Earth said. Back then, when the profound divine metal asked me to share a body with it, I was reluctant to do so due to my pride as one of the 5 divine elements. However, what it said to me at that time made me waver. Later on, it was proven that I made the right choice. Putting aside my pride as one of the 5 divine elements and sharing a body with one of the 5 divine elements was beneficial to me. The Chaos Divine Flame said. What did it say to you? A hint of curiosity could be heard in the Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice. At that time, I was only in my second form, and it was also in its second form, the profound divine metal. It told me that if I encountered other Chaos Divine Flames in their second form, it would help me devour them. Later on, I did encounter another Chaos Divine Flame that was in its second form. With its help, I successfully devoured it and evolved into its third form. I managed to retain my consciousness. The Chaos Divine Flame continued to speak. Upon hearing this, the Chaos Divine Earth fell silent. As long as you stay here with us, it won't be difficult for you to devour a third form Chaos Divine Earth and transform into a fourth form Chaos Divine Earth with our help. The profound Divine Metal said. Even so, if I encounter a fourth form Chaos Divine Earth, even with your help, I won't be able to stop it from devouring me. Once it devours me, its host will perish as well. At that time, you will lose your host and your vitality will be greatly damaged. You might even be devoured by other profound divine metals and chaos divine flames because of the lack of a suitable host. The Chaos Divine Earth voiced out its concerns. There are gains and losses. It's fine as long as you accept it. You can't just look at the losses and ignore the gains. Let go of your pride and have a bright future. So what if there's darkness behind you? Don't look back. The Chaos Divine Flame chimed in. Let go of your pride and have a bright future. So what if there's darkness behind you? The Chaos Divine Earth repeated the Chaos Divine Flame's words over and over again. After 15 minutes, it finally decided to stay in Duan Lingtian's body with the profound Divine Metal and Chaos Divine Flame. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief. Although he was the master, he had no say in the conversation between the Chaos Divine Flame, the profound Divine Metal, and the Chaos Divine Earth. He did not even have the right to choose. Fortunately, he was satisfied with the outcome. The Chaos Divine Flame can be used as a celestial flame, and the profound Divine Metal can be used as a defensive celestial weapon. Duan Lingtian thought to himself, the Chaos Divine Earth, Chaos Divine Flame, and profound Divine Metal are all 5 divine elements. It should be able to help me in some way, right? Meanwhile, the profound Divine Metal and Chaos Divine Flame were still communicating with the Chaos Divine Earth. Why are you in the Origin Stone? The Chaos Divine Flame asked. Many years ago, when I was still in my second form, I encountered another Chaos Divine Earth in its second form. We were evenly matched during that battle and our hosts perished during our battle. I was lucky enough to devour it and successfully evolved into the third form of the Chaos Divine Earth. Although I had evolved to the third form, my energy was not enough for me to find another host. For this reason, to protect myself, I could only form a layer of Origin Stone on my body to reduce the loss of energy in my body. In the Origin Stone, I fell into a deep slumber. You know what happened after that? Under your guidance, this host found me. You found another host, the Chaos Divine Earth said. Although the 5 divine elements could exist without a host, they would not die if they did not have a host for a long time. However, the energy in their bodies would disappear, and they would fall into a deep slumber. If another 5 divine element of the same element found them while they were in a deep slumber, even if they were in a higher form, they would still be devoured and absorbed by the other 5 divine elements. For this reason, 5 divine elements with intelligence in their second form or higher would try their best to find a suitable host to reduce the risk of being devoured. Moreover, with a host body, they would have the opportunity to devour other 5 divine elements, which would allow them to further transform and evolve. As expected. Apparently, the profound Divine Metal's guess was right. Ha! Suddenly, a burst of hearty laughter came from outside. The sound was like thunder, and one could vaguely hear that it was coming from a place far away. I, Bai Zhenyu, finally have a royal-grade celestial weapon. After the laughter stopped, an old and loud voice rang in the air. It was so loud that it seemed to resound in the capital of the solitary nation. Bai Zhenyu? Duan Lingtian was stunned. Is this person one of the 2 vice-patriarchs of the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion? When Duan Lingtian heard Duan Lingtian mentioning the royal-grade celestial weapon, he instantly knew Duan Lingtian was from the Flying Tiger clan. After Bai Gang reported the news of the royal-grade celestial sword to the solitary nation, the members of the Flying Tiger clan rushed to the capital of the solitary nation. Based on his words, it was clear he held a high position in the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion's territory. To be able to rush here from the Flying Tiger branch clan in just a few days, this person is most likely one of the 2 vice-clan leaders of the Flying Tiger branch clan. Previously, Duan Lingtian had learned from Huang Jialong that he was a member of the imperial family. The Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion had a total of 5 golden flying tigers. Moreover, 3 of the golden flying tigers were 10 direction celestial kings. Generally speaking, a peak-advanced king-grade celestial beast like the golden flying tiger could easily break through and become a 9 palaces celestial king as long as they did not die prematurely. However, it was extremely difficult to advance any further. One had to have a certain amount of luck to break through and become a 10 direction celestial king. The 3 golden flying tigers in the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion were all 10 directions celestial kings. I heard from Jialong that Uncle Bai told him there's only one royal-grade celestial weapon in the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion. The 2 vice clan leaders who are 10 directions celestial dukes are also 10 directions celestial kings. Chapter 2965. Duan Lingtian speculated. Bai Zhenyu should be the stronger of the 2 vice clan leaders of the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion. While Duan Lingtian was speculating, the capital of the solitary nation was in an uproar. Bai Zhenyu? He came personally? Heavens! Bai Zhenyu is the 2nd strongest person in the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion's territory. His strength is second only to the patriarch of the Flying Tiger clan. The Flying Tiger clan's branch has a royal-grade celestial weapon in the clan leader's possession. Now that another royal-grade celestial weapon has appeared, it's only natural that it belongs to Bai Zhenyu. I didn't expect him to come. If it's him, we won't be able to obtain the royal-grade celestial sword. Although many sectless celestial kings had left the capital of the solitary nation, more and more powerhouses from the 3 sects and 2 clans in the profound Nether Mansion's territory had arrived. The temptation of the royal-grade celestial sword was too great. The 3 sects and 2 clans were not strong enough to obtain the royal-grade celestial weapon since they were only grade 7 forces. However, since they had close ties with the profound Nether Mansion, it would not be difficult for them to obtain the royal-grade celestial weapon as long as they obtained permission from the profound Nether Mansion. For this reason, many powerhouses from the 3 sects and 2 clans came to obtain the royal-grade celestial sword that had appeared in the capital of the solitary nation a few days ago. Apart from the 3 sects and 2 clans, there were also powerhouses from other forces, including celestial beast clans and sectless cultivators. Naturally, there were also powerhouses from grade 8 clans and sections. They were here to join in the fun. Since their forces were not as strong as the solitary nation, they knew the royal-grade celestial weapon was not something they could obtain. Swoosh. At this moment, almost everyone in the capital of the solitary nation heard the earth-shattering sound of a sword whistling in the air. The people who witnessed the huge sword light blooming in the sky above the capital of the solitary nation could clearly see that there was a huge sword light. In the north of the solitary nation, a towering mountain was split in half by this sword ray. Some people approached the mountain peak to take a look, only to see that not only was the mountain peak split in half, but even the crack between the mountain peaks was so deep that one could not see the bottom. The might of this sword shocked everyone. This is the power of a 10 directions celestial king using a royal-grade celestial weapon? That's not an ordinary 10 directions celestial king. That's a peak advanced king-grade celestial beast, the golden flying tiger. His strength far surpasses ordinary 10 directions celestial kings. That's right. Once the golden flying tiger, a 10 directions celestial king, reveals its true form and uses the royal-grade celestial sword, there are very few human 10 directions celestial kings who are a match for it. How terrifying. I'm afraid only a handful of people in the profound Nether Mansion are capable of snatching the royal-grade celestial sword from him, right? Most of them have royal-grade celestial weapons. For this reason, it's impossible for them to make a move. That's right. Even if they want to snatch the royal-grade celestial sword from Bai Zhenyu, considering the Flying Tiger clan's background, they won't make a move. Most importantly, the royal-grade celestial sword was obtained by the Flying Tiger clan through stone gambling. It's only natural that it belongs to them. A few days later, the royal-grade celestial sword was found in the capital of the solitary nation. Due to the strength and background of the royal-grade celestial sword's owner, no one dared to object to him obtaining the royal-grade celestial sword. At this moment, the powerhouses from the various sects who had come from afar also left. They returned to where they had come from. As for the powerhouses from the grade 8 clans and sects, they stayed behind for the time being. This was because the imperial family of the solitary nation would be holding the imperial auction tomorrow. If they did not come for the royal-grade celestial sword, they would not be interested in the auction. However, since they were here, they naturally wanted to join in the fun. In the imperial palace of the solitary nation, Duan Lingtian and the people from the supporting Fall Nation were staying in the residence. Brother Duan. Duan Lingtian walked out of his room and out of the courtyard when Huang Jialong's voice rang from outside. Brother Duan, let's go. Uncle Bai and the senior from the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion are waiting for us. A hint of excitement could be seen on Huang Jialong's face when he saw Duan Lingtian. Oh? Duan Lingtian was taken aback by Huang Jialong's words. The senior wants to reward us for obtaining the royal grade celestial sword for him and the Flying Tiger clan, Huang Jialong said. According to Uncle Bai, the Flying Tiger clan hates owing people favors. Once they owe someone a favor, they'll return it as soon as possible. At this moment, Duan Lingtian finally regained his senses. As it turned out, the powerhouse from the Flying Tiger clan's branch was going to reward them immediately. Jialong, the royal grade celestial sword. Duan Lingtian was about to say he did not contribute when Huang Jialong interrupted him. Brother Duan, there's no need to beat around the bush. Both of us know how I obtained the royal grade celestial sword. If it weren't for your suggestion, I wouldn't have been able to buy the sword-shaped origin stones. If I didn't buy the sword-shaped origin stones, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the royal grade celestial sword. For this reason it's all thanks to you, Huang Jialong said. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. He did not expect his joke back then would result in a royal grade celestial sword. Moreover, it would bring him so many benefits. The powerhouse from the Flying Tiger clan's branch would definitely not be stingy since he had obtained the royal grade celestial sword. There was no doubt about this. Since Huang Jialong had said so much, Duan Lingtian did not say anything else. After all, he knew it would be pointless for him to say anything. After spending some time together, Duan Lingtian had a good understanding of Huang Jialong's character. At the same time, he was 100% certain Huang Jialong was a friend of Duan Lingtian. He was certain Huang Jialong was a good friend. After all, not everyone was willing to share such benefits with others. After this incident, Huang Jialong's position in Duan Lingtian's heart had changed. He now regarded Huang Jialong as a true friend. In other words, Huang Jialong was a true friend of Duan Lingtian. He had acknowledged Huang Jialong as a friend. After living 2 lives, Duan Lingtian did not have many friends. Although there were people who would occasionally appear by his side, most of them were just passers-by in his life. Bai Zhenyu was an old man who was as tall as Bai Gang. His short white hair was spiky and his face was covered with curly hair. He looked like a white-furred lion. He stood there like an iron tower. His muscles were bulging, giving off an oppressive aura. Vice clan leader, the two of them obtained the royal grade celestial sword from the origin stone. Bai Gang, who was standing next to Bai Zhenyu, said respectfully as he looked at Duan Lingtian and Huang Jialong, who had just entered the main hall. Old Mo and Huang Yuanfei were also present. They stood below Bai Zhenyu. Even someone as strong as Old Mo didn't dare to breathe loudly before him. He was merely a one basic celestial king. However, Bai Zhenyu was a 10-direction celestial king. Most importantly, he was only a low-level king-grade celestial beast while Bai Zhenyu was a peak high-level king-grade celestial beast. Regardless of their strength, just the difference in the grade of the immortal beast was enough to make him feel suffocated. Not bad, not bad. As soon as Bai Gang finished speaking, Bai Zhenyu looked at Duan Lingtian and Huang Jialong and nodded his head in satisfaction. I heard from Bai Gang that you're a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial even though you're not even 100 years old. You're widely acknowledged as the strongest person below celestial dukes in the supporting Fall Nation. Bai Zhenyu's eyes finally landed on Duan Lingtian as he said, what a pity. Although there are many humans in the Flying Tiger clan, it's destined that humans won't be able to enter the core of the Flying Tiger clan. They can only be peripheral members of the Flying Tiger clan. With your innate talent, it's a waste for you to be an outer member of the Flying Tiger clan. Bai Zhenyu said. Senior, you flatter me. Duan Lingtian replied modestly. Alright, I'll be leaving the solitary nation soon, so I'll make a long story short. Bai Zhenyu raised an eyebrow and smiled. It was obvious he was in a good mood now that he had obtained the royal grade celestial sword. I have a wind-type king-grade divine ability and an earth-type king-grade celestial method. Both of you can choose one. Naturally, both of you can't choose the same celestial method because I only have one memory celestial talisman for each of these celestial methods and divine abilities. I'm sure both of you know that the memory celestial talismans that record celestial methods and divine abilities above the king grade are different from those that record celestial methods and divine abilities below the king grade. The latter can be used repeatedly, but the former can only be used once. After that, it'll disappear completely. Bai Zhenyu explained. Duan Lingtian had learned about this when he was in the supporting Fall Nation. The memory celestial talismans that recorded celestial methods and divine abilities above the king grade contained a lot of comprehension of the laws. Therefore they could only be used once. Earth-type king grade celestial method? Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. The chaos divine Earth's childish voice rang in Duan Lingtian's mind. Boy, choose the Earth-type King-grade Celestial Method. As long as you obtain the King-grade Celestial Method, I'll be able to help you quickly comprehend and master the law of Earth. At that time your strength will increase tremendously. A hint of pride could be heard in the Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice when it reached the end of its sentence. King-grade Divine Ability? King-grade Celestial Method? As soon as Bai Jingyue finished speaking, whether it was Bai Gang, Elder Mo, or even Huang Yuanfei, they were all shocked. Chapter 2966. In the Devata realms, whether it was celestial weapons, celestial methods, or divine abilities, there was a huge gap between the Duke grade and the King grade. Duke grade celestial methods and divine abilities were similar to Heaven grade, Earth grade, Black grade, and Yellow grade celestial methods and divine abilities. On the other hand, celestial methods and divine abilities above the King grade were not divided into offensive celestial methods and divine abilities, defensive celestial methods and divine abilities, movement celestial methods and divine abilities, and offensive and defensive celestial methods and divine abilities. Celestial methods and divine abilities above the King grade revolved around the law. The comprehension of the law of a King grade celestial method and divine ability was ever-changing. The same law could be used for offense, defense, or even speed. For this reason, King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities were extremely precious. They were not inferior to King-grade cultivation methods. It should be noted that celestial methods and divine abilities below the King grade, such as Duke-grade celestial methods and divine abilities, were much more valuable than celestial methods and divine abilities below the King grade. It seems like Lord Vice Patriarch is really happy to have obtained the royal-grade celestial sword. Even he doesn't have many memory celestial talismans that contain King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities. Bai Gang thought to himself. Although the memory celestial talismans that contain King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities were one-time use memory celestial talismans, it was much more difficult to inscribe than one-time use memory celestial talismans. This was because one had to comprehend the law contained in the memory celestial method and divine ability to a certain extent before one could inscribe a memory celestial talisman that contained King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities. Based on his knowledge, there was only one person in the Flying Tiger clan who was capable of inscribing King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities. That person was none other than the Patriarch of the Flying Tiger clan. Moreover, inscribing memory celestial talismans required a lot of energy. Unless it was absolutely necessary, no one was willing to inscribe memory celestial talismans endlessly. For this reason, memory celestial talismans that contain King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities were extremely rare and valuable. Earth-type King-grade celestial technique. When Bai Jingyue mentioned the Earth-type King-grade celestial method, Duanling Tian immediately recalled what the profound divine metal and the chaos divine flame had told him. The profound divine metal had said that as long as he evolved to the third form and obtained a metal-type King-grade celestial method or divine ability, it would be able to help him quickly comprehend the law of metal. The chaos divine flame had also said that as long as he could obtain a fire-type King-grade celestial method or divine ability, he would be able to quickly comprehend the law of fire contained in the celestial method or divine ability. He didn't even need to think about it to be certain. The third form of the Chaos Divine Earth would definitely be able to help him quickly comprehend the law of Earth when he obtained Earth-type King-grade celestial methods and divine abilities. For this reason, his heartbeat quickened when Bai Jingyue mentioned the Earth-type King-grade celestial method. At the same time, the Chaos Divine Earth's voice rang in Duanling Tian's mind. Monarch Mystique? King-grade celestial technique? Huang Jialong was shocked by Bai Jinyue's generosity. It took him a long time to regain his senses. He quickly looked at Duanling Tian. Brother Duan, you can choose first, Huang Jialong said. In truth, he was more interested in obtaining the Wind-type King-grade divine ability. Compared to the law of Earth contained in the Earth-type King-grade celestial method, the law of Wind contained in the Wind-type King-grade divine ability was more offensive. Earth elemental laws were more inclined towards defense and support. However, he was more interested in obtaining the Wind-type King-grade divine ability that contained the law of Wind. He was certain Duanling Tian would want this divine ability as well. For this reason, he decided to give the Wind-type King-grade divine ability to Duanling Tian. Me? Upon hearing Huang Jialong's words, Duanling Tian was slightly taken aback. However, he did not decline and looked at Bai Jingyue. Huang Jialong sighed when he saw this. As expected, the Wind-type King-grade divine ability was very tempting to Duanling Tian. He did not decline. At this moment, everyone present on the scene shared the same thoughts as Duanling Tian. However, when Duan Lingtian looked at Bai Jinyue, his words shocked Huang Jialong and the others. "Senior, I want the Earth-type King-grade celestial method," Duan Lingtian said in a clear voice. Huang Jialong did not decline because he wanted the Earth-type King-grade celestial method as well. After all, he had the Chaos Divine Earth in his body to help him quickly comprehend the law of Earth contained in the celestial method. "Brother Duan, there's no need for you to do this." Huang Jialong smiled bitterly. At the same time he felt slightly ashamed. He had thought Duan Lingtian wanted the Wind-type divine ability so much that he did not decline. Now, it seemed like Duan Lingtian had made up his mind to let Huang Jialong have the Wind-type divine ability. For this reason, Duan Lingtian had chosen the Earth-type celestial method. At this moment the others had the same thought as well. They thought Duan Lingtian was using this method to let Huang Jialong have the Wind-type divine ability. "Little fella, you better think carefully." Bai Zhenyu looked at Duan Lingtian and said, "Although it's possible for Earth-type celestial methods and divine abilities to contain the law of Earth that's more offensive, most Earth-type celestial methods and divine abilities are more defensive and assistive. The law of Earth contained in this Earth-type immortal technique is also inclined towards support," Bai Jinyue said. "Why do these fellows look down on the law of Earth? Although only a small portion of the laws of Earth are offensive profundities, the profundities that are offensive profundities of the laws of Earth are definitely top-tier offensive profundities." The Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice rang in Duan Lingtian's body. It was clearly angry that Bai Jinyue, Huang Jialong, and the others looked down on the law of Earth. Moreover, the law of Earth is the orthodox law of the 5 elemental laws. Apart from the law of space, the law of devouring, and the law of destruction, the law of wind, the law of thunder, and the law of ice are all derived from the law of the 5 elemental laws. In terms of defense, the law of Earth is the best. What's the use of having a powerful offense without a powerful defense? The Chaos Divine Earth was clearly angered. "I've made up my mind. I want the Earth-type celestial method." Duan Lingtian looked at Bai Jinyue and said solemnly. After listening to Bai Jinyue and the Chaos Divine Earth's words, Duan Lingtian finally understood. He finally understood why Huang Jialong and the others had such an expression on their faces when he chose the Earth-type celestial method. As it turned out, most people in the Devata realms thought the law of wind was more offensive than the law of Earth. For this reason, most people who had not comprehended a law would prefer the law of wind if they had a choice. If Duan Lingtian did not have the Chaos Divine Earth in his body, he might have made the same choice. However, now that he had the Chaos Divine Earth in his body, the Earth-type celestial method was the best choice for him. "Brother Duan, you don't have to be so modest," Huang Jialong smiled wryly. "Jialong, I'm not being modest. I really want the Earth-type celestial method." Duan Lingtian shook his head. Even if Huang Jialong did not believe him, he still had to tell the truth. Naturally, he knew Huang Jialong would still think he was being modest unless he told Huang Jialong about the Chaos Divine Earth. However, he did not bother to explain himself. Soon after, Duan Lingtian obtained the Earth-type King-grade celestial method from Bai Jinyue. The Earth-type King-grade celestial method was called the Black Rock Prison. Crack. After Duan Lingtian crushed the memory celestial talisman that contained the Earth-type King-grade celestial method, the Black Rock Prison, a torrent of information surged into his mind. And this information was about the Black Rock Prison. This King-grade celestial method will help you comprehend the law of Earth's earth elemental profundity and the gravitational space profundity. As soon as the information from the memory celestial talisman entered Duan Lingtian's mind, the Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice rang in his mind. The earth elemental profundity is the fundamental profundity of the law of Earth. The gravitational space profundity is an assistive profundity. The Chaos Divine Earth paused for a moment before it added, although it's an assistive profundity, the gravitational space profundity has offensive and defensive characteristics as well. It was, without a doubt, venting its displeasure at Huang Jialong and the others' disdain for the law of Earth. Since the purpose of celestial methods and divine abilities above the king grade is to comprehend the laws, why is there a need to differentiate between celestial methods and divine abilities? Aren't they all the same? Duan Lingtian asked. It's mainly to differentiate internal assistive profundities. All divine abilities above the king grade contain internal assistive profundity. The Chaos Divine Earth replied. Internal assistive profundity? Duan Lingtian was puzzled. For example, assistive celestial methods below the king grade are only assistive methods. They can't boost one's celestial origin energy for a short period of time. These assistive methods are called external assistive methods. For example, The gravitational space profundity contained in the Earth-type King-grade celestial method you just obtained is an external assistive profundity. On the other hand, assistive divine abilities below the King grade can boost one's celestial origin energy for a short period of time. These assistive methods are called internal assistive methods. Since this old man has a Wind-type King grade divine ability, it means there's an internal assistive profundity contained in the law of wind in this divine ability. The Chaos Divine Earth finished speaking in one breath. All divine abilities above the King grade contain internal assistive profundities. As for celestial methods above the King grade, they are all-encompassing. There are profundities that focus on offense, defense, speed, and external assistive profundities. Chapter 2967. After listening to the Chaos Divine Flame's explanation, Duan Lingtian finally understood why there was a distinction between celestial methods and divine abilities at the King grade and above. As it turned out, divine abilities at the King grade and above were all divine abilities that contained the law of internal support. For example, the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, that he had mastered was also a type of internal support technique. Previously, Hua Lao, the pagoda spirit of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, told me that the elementary devouring tactic is a modified version of a powerful divine ability, the advanced devouring tactic in the Devata realms. The advanced devouring tactic is the famous divine ability of a heavenly emperor in a Devata realm. The divine ability of a heavenly emperor must be at the King grade or above. Duan Lingtian recalled that when he was still in the Devata realm, Hua Lao, the pagoda spirit of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, had told him about the advanced devouring tactic. Moreover, the advanced devouring tactic is definitely not just a King grade divine ability. It might even be an emperor grade divine ability or an emperor grade divine ability. Duan Lingtian thought to himself as his eyes glinted. After so many years, Duan Lingtian could not help but sigh when he thought about Hua Lao again. I wonder where Hua Lao is now. In the past, when Hua Lao and the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda disappeared, Duan Lingtian had thought Hua Lao had detonated the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and all the celestial weapons in the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda to save him. However, due to some unforeseen circumstances, the matter had become more and more confusing. After arriving in the Devata realm, Duan Lingtian was finally able to ascertain the truth. The weapon spirit of an Emperor-grade celestial weapon could not destroy an Emperor-grade celestial weapon even if it detonated itself. For this reason, Duan Lingtian was certain Hua Lao was still alive. As for the disappearance of Hua Lao and the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, he was certain there was an invisible hand behind the disappearance of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. I wonder what kind of law is contained in the divine ability, the Great Devouring Tactic. Could it be the law of devouring that the Chaos Divine Earth mentioned earlier? Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Moreover, the law of Earth is the orthodox law of the five elemental laws. Apart from some special laws such as the law of space, the law of devouring, and the law of destruction, the laws of nature such as the law of wind, the law of lightning, and the law of ice are all derived from the laws of the five elemental laws. These were the Chaos Divine Earth's exact words. One of them was the law of devouring. Bai Gang, do you want to follow me back to the clan to receive your reward now, or do you want to wait for a while and receive it yourself? Bai Jinhua looked at Bai Gang and asked after he passed the memory immortal talisman to Huang Jialong, Vice Patriarch, I'll go back with you. Bai Gang said without any hesitation. His tone was unusually excited, as if the reward he was about to receive was far more valuable than what Duan Lingtian and Huang Jialong had received. All right. Bai Jinhua nodded. Bai Gang left with Bai Jinhua. He did not greet Duan Lingtian and Huang Jialong since both of them were immersed in the celestial methods and divine abilities they had just obtained. He did not greet Old Emo and Huang Yuanfei. Based on Old Emo and Huang Yuanfei's expressions, it was clear they knew Bai Gang was going to leave. Father, where's Uncle Bai? Huang Yuanfei asked. He did not see Bai Gang when he regained his senses. It was only natural for Bai Jinhua to leave the capital of the solitary nation and return to the Flying Tiger clan's branch family. However, why was his uncle Bai gone as well? Your uncle Bai has returned to the clan. Huang Yuanfei smiled. You're quite lucky to have obtained a king-grade divine ability. Even your father hasn't obtained a celestial method or divine ability that's above the king grade. Huang Yuanfei was truly happy that his son could obtain a king-class divine art. In fact, he was happier than if he had obtained a king-grade divine ability. He has returned to the clan? What? Huang Jialong frowned. Will Uncle Bai come back? Huang Jialong asked with a hint of disappointment in his voice. Just like how Elder Mo had watched Huang Yuanfei grow up, Bai Gang had also watched Huang Jialong grow up. Thus Huang Jialong had deep feelings for Bai Gang. At this moment, Duan Lingtian finally regained his senses. He noticed Bai Gang's departure as well. He could sense Huang Jialong's disappointment as well. Don't worry, your Uncle Bai will return once he completes his evolution. Huang Yuanfei continued to say with a smile, it's a good thing for your Uncle Bai to return to the clan. He obtained a royal-grade celestial sword for the Flying Tiger clan's branch family, so the benefits he reaped aren't any less than the two of you. Oh? Huang Jialong's curiosity was piqued when he heard his father's words. Father, what benefits did Uncle Bai obtain? Moreover, he has to return to the clan to reap the benefits? Your Uncle Bai obtained a chance to enter the cleansing pool that only opens once every 10,000 years in the Flying Tiger clan's branch family. Huang Yuanfei's smile widened when he finished speaking. Bai Gang was his brother. The more benefits Bai Gang obtained, the happier he would be for him. The cleansing pool? Duan Lingtian was still wondering about the cleansing pool in the Flying Tiger clan's branch family when Huang Jialong's eyes lit up with joy. Father. Is this true? Huang Jialong asked excitedly. Uncle Bai. He obtained a chance to enter the cleansing pool? Yes. Huang Yuanfei nodded. That's great. That's great. When I was young, I heard Uncle Bai talk about it more than once. He said his biggest dream is to enter the cleansing pool. Huang Jialong was overjoyed. I didn't expect his wish to come true. Uncle Huang Jialong, what's the cleansing pool? Duan Lingtian looked at Huang Yuanfei and Huang Jialong with a puzzled expression on his face. Brother Duan, that purification pool is a spiritual pool that only opens once every 10,000 years. Every time, only one copper-marked flying tiger can enter. In response to Duan Lingtian's confusion, Huang Jialong took the initiative to explain to Duan Lingtian. After the copper flying tiger enters the purification pool, it only needs to cultivate in seclusion for 10 years to absorb the special energy in the purification pool. After 10 years, it'll evolve into a silver flying tiger, a peak intermediate king-grade celestial beast. The Profound Nether Mansions branch in the Profound Nether Mansions territory only allows copper flying tigers to enter. Silver-striped flying tigers and golden-striped flying tigers won't be able to enter the pool. It's said that there's a cleansing pool in the Flying Tiger clan in the Profound Nether Mansions territory that only opens once every 30,000 years. The cleansing pool allows a silver flying tiger to evolve into a golden flying tiger, a peak advanced king-grade celestial beast. Huang Jialong said excitedly, in other words, when Uncle Bai returns after 10 years, he'll no longer be a peak elementary king-grade celestial beast, a copper-marked flying tiger, but a peak intermediate king-grade celestial beast, a silver flying tiger. Duan Lingtian was shocked. Now he finally understood why Huang Jialong was so agitated earlier. As it turned out, this was how the purification pool in the Flying Tiger clan's branch was. Without a fortuitous encounter, a copper-marked flying tiger will forever remain a 3-talent celestial king. However, once it evolves into a silver flying tiger, it'll be able to break through and become a 6-combo celestial king. A 3-talent celestial king and a 6-combo celestial king were on completely different levels. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. At the same time, Duan Lingtian knew this was a great opportunity for Bai Gang to be reborn. Little Tian, tomorrow is the day of the Solitary Nation's Imperial Family's auction. If there's no unforeseen circumstances, the auction will start at night. Huang Yuanfei said as he looked at Duan Lingtian. All right, Uncle Huang. Duan Lingtian nodded. Then he bade farewell to Huang Yuanfei and old Mo before he left the hall. Huang Jialong followed after him. Brother Duan, what's the name of the Earth-type king-grade celestial method you obtained? Huang Jialong asked curiously after he caught up to Duan Lingtian. Black Rock Prison. Duan Lingtian replied with a glint in his eyes. Black Rock Prison? Based on the name, it seems like the Earth-type celestial method is mainly an assist-type celestial method. It should be a restraining celestial method, right? Huang Jialong asked. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. Although Duan Lingtian had not comprehended the Earth-type celestial method, he could roughly guess the effects of the celestial method based on its description. Once the Black Rock Prison was formed, the gravitational force inside would be able to change according to one's will, and one could toy with the opponent imprisoned inside. Apart from that, the gravitational force could be used to control and injure people. The Black Rock Prison could also be formed around one's body to defend against attacks. What about the Wind-type divine ability you obtained? Duan Lingtian asked. He was also curious about the wind-type divine ability Huang Jialong had obtained. According to the Chaos Divine Earth and the Chaos Divine Flame, all divine abilities above the king grade were basically divine abilities that contained an assist-type law. For this reason, Duan Lingtian speculated that Huang Jialong's wind-type divine ability did not contain an attack or speed-type law profundity. It should be an assist-type law profundity. My wind-type divine ability is called the Gathering of Wind and Cloud. It gathers the wind elemental profundity to strengthen one's celestial origin energy. Apart from the wind elemental profundity, this divine ability also contains another profundity from the law of wind called the Gathering Wind profundity. The Gathering Wind profundity is a method of gathering the wind elemental profundity to strengthen one's celestial origin energy. Huang Jialong explained. Huang Jialong's words confirmed the Chaos Divine Earth and the Chaos Divine Flame's earlier words. All divine abilities above the king grade contained an assist-type law profundity. Chapter 2968. During his conversation with Huang Jialong, Duan Lingtian gained a deeper understanding of the wind-type king grade divine ability, Gathering Wind and Cloud. Brother Duan, why don't we exchange our celestial methods and divine abilities? Give me your earth-type celestial method, and I'll give you my wind-type divine ability. Until now, Huang Jialong still thought Duan Lingtian intended to let him have the wind-type divine ability. There's no need for that. Duan Lingtian shook his head with a bitter smile on his face. Jialong, I really want the earth-type celestial method. Brother Duan, although I haven't come into contact with king-grade celestial methods and divine abilities as the saying goes, even if you haven't eaten pork, you've still seen pigs run. Huang Jialong's expression turned solemn as he said solemnly, although the law of wind gathering wind profundity I've obtained isn't an offensive profundity, there are only a few profundities from the law of wind that aren't offensive profundities. The wind-type divine ability I obtain not only allows me to comprehend the gathering wind profundity, but it also allows me to comprehend the wind elemental profundity. The wind elemental profundity is the foundation of the law of wind. All other profundities from the law of wind must be based on this foundation. With a good foundation, it'll be easier for you to comprehend other profundities from the law of wind in the future. Huang Jialong paused for a moment before he continued to say, a person's energy is limited. A person's energy is limited. If you want to go further on the path of the laws, you have to specialize in one law. If you try to comprehend the profundities of the law of earth now, spend some effort and have some achievements, and have the opportunity to obtain an offensive law like the law of wind in the future, are you going to abandon the law of earth and switch to another law? Huang Jialong was trying to persuade Duan Lingtian to give him the earth-type celestial method so he could give the wind-type divine ability to Duan Lingtian. Jialong, upon hearing Huang Jialong's words, Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. I plan to cultivate the laws of earth. Even if I have the opportunity to comprehend the laws of wind in the future, I don't plan on switching to the laws of wind. Moreover, it can't be said that the law of earth is definitely inferior to the law of wind. Don't tell me the law of earth is weaker than the law of wind for people of the same cultivation base who have comprehended the law of wind? The laws aren't actually that important. What's important is the person who controls the laws, Duan Lingtian said. The last sentence was what the Chaos Divine Earth had told Duan Lingtian, and Duan Lingtian had repeated it to Huang Jialong. Naturally, he felt that the Chaos Divine Earth was right. Moreover, he also knew why Huang Jialong had such thoughts. It was entirely because the laws of wind leaned more towards attack and speed than the laws of earth. Such thoughts had long since taken root in his mind. According to the Chaos Divine Earth, the reason Huang Jialong, Huang Yuanfei, and the others had such thoughts was because of this. According to the Chaos Divine Earth, they had only come into contact with a few profundities from the law of earth. More than 80% of the profundities from the law of wind focus on offense and speed. On the other hand, only one profundity from the law of earth focuses on offense and speed. However, the profundities from the law of wind that focus on offense and speed are not inferior to any of the profundities from the law of wind that focus on offense and speed. These were the Chaos Divine Earth's exact words. With your innate talent, it won't be difficult for you to obtain celestial methods and divine abilities that contain profundities from the law of earth in the future. However, most of the people here won't be able to go far. It's already considered good if they can comprehend 2 or 3 profundities from the same law. Since they don't have the opportunity to comprehend all the profundities from the same law, they prefer the law of wind that focuses on attack and speed. Upon hearing the Chaos Divine Earth's words, Duan Lingtian realized something. The reason Huang Jialong, Huang Yuanfei, and the others thought the law of wind was better than the law of earth was because their horizons were too limited. Naturally, without me, the law of wind will be more helpful to you than the law of earth. Although the law of earth has one profundity that focuses on attack and another profundity that focuses on speed, it's much more difficult to obtain celestial methods and divine abilities that contain both profundities compared to the law of wind's profundities. The chaos divine earth continued to say, with me around, if you want to comprehend the law of earth through celestial methods and divine abilities, you'll be able to comprehend the law of earth at least 10 times faster than someone with the same level of comprehension as you. This is because I'm only in my third form. With my help, you'll be able to comprehend the law of earth 100 times faster than those with the same level of comprehension as you. A hint of temptation could be heard in the chaos divine earth's voice when it reached the end of its sentence. For this reason, boy, you'll have to help me evolve to my fourth form in the future. Duanling Tian found it strange when he heard the chaos divine earth's childish voice that sounded like an old man speaking in an old-fashioned manner. It's true. The chaos divine flame and I feel the same way. The profound divine metal, who had not spoken for a long time, chimed in at this moment. Naturally, with my current strength, I won't be able to help you quickly comprehend the law of metal even if you obtain a king-grade celestial method and divine ability. However, once I evolve to my third form, I'll be able to help you. Now, I only need a first form profound divine metal to reach the third form. A hint of eagerness could be heard in the profound divine metal's voice when it reached the end of its sentence. With its current foundation, even a first form profound divine metal would be enough to help it evolve to its third form. Hey, Chaos Divine Flame, I think it's fate that the three of us are in the same body. Why don't we rank based on who evolves to the third form first? The Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice rang in the air again. It sounded excited as it said, I'm the first one to evolve to the third form among the three of us. I'll be the eldest. Chaos Divine Flame, you'll be the second eldest. As for the profound divine metal, it's only in its second form. Naturally, you'll be the third eldest. I think that's a good idea. It's decided then. Did you hear that? Don't play dead. At this moment, the Chaos Divine Earth was the only one speaking in Duan Lingtian's body. No matter how much he called out to them, the Chaos Divine Flame and the profound divine metal ignored him. Meanwhile, Duan Lingtian bade farewell to Huang Jialong and returned to his courtyard. My lord. As soon as Duan Lingtian entered the courtyard, he saw Lu Guanglin standing there. Lu Guanglin greeted him respectfully with bright eyes. It seems like you've stabilized your cultivation base. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. Yes. Lu Guanglin nodded before he said, My lord, please forgive me for not following you around for the past few days. For the past few days, Lu Guanglin had not been by Duan Lingtian's side because he was in the final stages of stabilizing his cultivation base. For this reason, Duan Lingtian had been acting alone for the past few days. Tomorrow is the day of the Solitary Nations auction. You should rest well tonight. Come with me to the auction tomorrow. Duan Lingtian bade farewell to Lu Guanglin before he returned to his room. After returning to his room, the first thing he did was to speak to the Chaos Divine Earth in his body. Stop shouting. It's obvious that they don't want to talk to you. You sound like a child who has just learned how to talk. Do you think they'll let you be their boss? Duan Lingtian's words hit the nail on the head, causing the Chaos Divine Earth to fall silent. After a long while it scoffed and said, I can't control my voice. One day I'll make them willingly acknowledge me as their boss. You're ambitious. Duan Lingtian praised the Chaos Divine Earth. Then he asked, as the Chaos Divine Earth, don't you have any abilities? Senior Profound Divine Metal can protect my soul and help me fend off soul attacks. It can also conceal my aura. According to him, as long as it evolves into its third form, it can possess my celestial artifact and strengthen its power. Senior Chaos Divine Flame can help me refine pills and forge weapons. Although I don't have a celestial fire, it can help me become a celestial alchemist and celestial weapon craftsman. Duan Lingtian intentionally praised the profound divine metal and Chaos Divine Flame so the Chaos Divine Earth could tell him how it could help him. Brat, you've said so much because you want to know how I can help you. Do you think I can't tell? Alas, the Chaos Divine Earth saw through Duan Lingtian's thoughts. It chuckled and said, It's not difficult for me to help you in any way you want me to help you. You just have to promise me one thing. The Chaos Divine Earth said. What is it? Duan Lingtian asked with a frown on his face. He did not expect the Chaos Divine Earth to be so smart despite its childlike voice and childlike personality. Convince the Chaos Divine Flame and Profound Divine Metal to become my subordinates. The Chaos Divine Earth chuckled. Forget it. I don't need your help. With your strength, you're not even worthy of carrying the profound divine metal and the Chaos Divine Flame's shoes. How dare you think you can become their boss? Duan Lingtian said nonchalantly as he shrugged. Brat, your provocation won't work. My voice may sound childish, but my thoughts aren't. Don't treat me like a child. The Chaos Divine Earth said, slightly annoyed. You know how to provoke me? I really didn't expect you to be so smart. Alright, I'm not interested in knowing how strong you are for now. I'd like to see how you're going to help me comprehend the law of Earth. Chapter 2969. The Black Rock Prison was an Earth-type King-grade celestial method. The most important profundity it contained was the law of Earth's gravitational space profundity. With the gravitational space profundity and the Black Rock pillars formed by the Earth elemental profundity, the Black Rock prison would be formed to imprison one's opponent. In order to prevent one's opponent from escaping, the gravitational space profundity would imbue the prison with a gravitational force that would affect one's opponent. In order to master the Black Rock prison, one must first comprehend the law of Earth's Earth elemental profundity and the gravitational space profundity. The Earth elemental profundity was the foundation profundity. All king-grade celestial methods and divine abilities would have a corresponding foundation profundity. For this reason, many people called king-grade celestial methods and divine abilities the foundation of laws. If one did not obtain a king-grade celestial method or divine ability, one would not be able to comprehend a royal-grade celestial method, divine ability, or emperor-grade celestial method or divine ability. After all, royal-grade celestial methods, divine abilities, and emperor-grade celestial methods did not have a foundation profundity. If one wanted to comprehend a law's foundation profundity, one had to obtain a corresponding king-grade celestial method or divine ability. This was common knowledge in the Devata realms. Boy, I told you earlier that with my help in my third form, the speed at which you comprehend the profundities from the law of Earth will be 10 times faster than other people with the same level of comprehension. The profundities from the law of Earth I'm talking about are only the profundities from the law of Earth other than the Earth elemental profundity. The Chaos Divine Earth said when it saw Duan Lingtian was about to comprehend the law of Earth using the Black Rock prison. What do you mean? Are you saying you can't help me comprehend the law of Earth's foundation profundity, the Earth elemental profundity? Duan Lingtian, who was meditating with his eyes closed, frowned when he heard the Chaos Divine Earth's words. Of course not. The Chaos Divine Earth said proudly, I can help you comprehend the law of Earth's fundamental profundity, the Earth elemental profundity, in one night. You have to know that if an ordinary person wants to comprehend the fundamental profundity of a law, even if they have a higher comprehension ability, they would still need at least 3 to 5 years without the help of external forces. For those with a lower comprehension ability, they might need a few decades or even 100 years. The Chaos Divine Earth continued to say indifferently, in fact, some of the more foolish ones won't be able to comprehend the fundamental profundities of a law. These people are destined to have no fate with the law. Comprehending it overnight? Duan Lingtian's heart trembled. The Chaos Divine Earth's words meant that, with the help of the Chaos Divine Earth, he would be able to comprehend the law of Earth's fundamental profundity, the Earth elemental profundity? Was the Chaos Divine Earth really that powerful? Comprehending the Earth element in a single night. Are you kidding me? Duan Lingtian asked with uncertainty. You'll find out tomorrow morning whether I'm kidding or not. A hint of displeasure could be heard in the Chaos Divine Earth's voice when it heard Duan Lingtian's words. Relax your body and clear your mind. Then spread your divine consciousness out. I will guide your divine sense to communicate with the Earth elemental essence in this world. During this process, what you need to do is to sense the characteristics of the Earth elemental essence, as well as other things that you can sense. Once you've familiarized yourself with the Earth elemental profundity, you'll be able to fuse your celestial origin energy with the Earth elemental profundity. At that time, your attacks will be much more powerful. After the Chaos Divine Earth finished speaking, it fell silent. At this moment, Duan Lingtian followed the Chaos Divine Earth's instructions and calmed down. He relaxed his body and cleared his mind before he spread his divine consciousness around aimlessly. Initially, Duan Lingtian, who had cleared his mind, did not feel anything. However, after a dozen breaths, he was shocked to discover his divine consciousness had easily penetrated the ground and entered the depths of the earth. The entire process was as easy as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Did the Chaos Divine Earth do this? Duan Lingtian was shocked when he discovered another problem. After his divine consciousness entered the depths of the earth, he could clearly hear vibrations in the air. It was as though the earth in the distance was resonating with his divine consciousness. Thump, thump, thump. A series of vibrations that sounded like a human's heartbeat rang in the air. Thump, 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 thump. A series of rapid vibrations rang in the air. It sounded as though thousands of soldiers and horses were galloping. The sound was so powerful that it seemed as though it could crack the earth. In the end, the vibrations were sometimes fast and sometimes slow. It was hard to fathom. During this process, Duan Lingtian discovered his divine consciousness seemed to have become one with the earth. It was as though he was carrying countless things with the earth. There were buildings rooted in the earth, plants, humans, celestial beasts, and many other life forms. There were also towering mountains and precipitous ridges that seemed to have become one with the earth. Time continued to pass quietly. Duan Lingtian did not know how much time had passed. He only knew his divine consciousness had merged with the earth. It felt as though he could sense everything in the earth. During this process, he had also familiarized himself with the earth that formed the earth. He knew the earth was not the same as the loose earth used to carry the plants. The rocks that formed the towering mountains, as well as the rocks that were harder than steel that had been formed over tens of thousands of years, were also soil. However, it was earth that had been baptized by nature for a certain period of time. At some point, Duan Lingtian discovered his divine consciousness had left the earth and entered the air. At this moment he discovered the air was filled with earth. Even the air was filled with the aura of earth. It was a gentle, thick, and steady aura that gave people a strong sense of security. Is this the earth elemental element? Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Time continued to pass. When Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, he discovered the night had already passed. The sun was rising from the east, and it shone on him through the window screen. The earth elemental element. As Duan Lingtian's celestial origin energy surged out of his body, the air around him began to vibrate. Following that, rays of earthen yellow light began to shine around his celestial origin energy. Soon after, the celestial origin energy that surged out of Duan Lingtian's body transformed into khaki energy that coiled around his body like khaki pythons. The celestial origin energy that has merged with the earth elemental element is so powerful? Duan Lingtian could not help but gasp when he sensed the power of his celestial origin energy that had merged with the earth elemental element. After obtaining the Earth-type King-grade celestial method, the Black Rock Prison, Duan Lingtian had a better understanding of the differences between King-grade celestial methods and celestial methods below the King-grade. Unless one mastered a celestial method or divine ability that could replace a celestial method or divine ability below the King-grade, one could still use a celestial method or divine ability below the King-grade to fill the gap. Just like Duan Lingtian, the Earth elemental element was only a basic profundity from the law of Earth. In other words, after Duan Lingtian had merged his celestial origin energy with the earth elemental element, he could still use any technique he had learned in the past to maximize his strength. This was because the earth elemental element did not conflict with his celestial origin energy. With my current strength, I can defeat Jialong with just one move even without the energy from the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon. In the past, Duan Lingtian had defeated Huang Jialong with just one move. However, he had mostly relied on the remaining energy from the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon. After that, unless he used the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon again, he would not stand a chance against Huang Jialong. Now that he had comprehended the earth elemental profundity, overnight, his strength had undergone a tremendous change. Duan Lingtian was confident he could defeat Huang Jialong with just one move. The genius sectless cultivator from the East Ming nation defeated everyone below the celestial dukes with his heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial cultivation base. It seems like he has mastered the power of the law. Previously I was surprised by the power of the law. However, it seems like I'm not surprised at all. Even if he has only mastered the fundamental profundity of a law and merged it with his celestial origin energy, as long as he has mastered celestial methods and divine abilities below the king grade, it won't be difficult for him to defeat everyone below the celestial dukes. After comprehending the law of Earth's fundamental profundity, the earth elemental profundity, Duan Lingtian had a better understanding of how powerful the law was. Even so, that person's innate talent is extraordinary. After all, he's not even 100 years old, but he has mastered the power of the law and defeated everyone below the celestial dukes in a nation. This is not something an ordinary person can do. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Brat, do you still doubt me? Duan Lingtian was still thinking about the genius sectless cultivator from the East Ming nation when the chaos divine earth's childish voice rang in Duan Lingtian's mind. I don't doubt you anymore, Duan Lingtian replied indifferently. However, I think if I obtain a king-grade celestial method or divine ability that contains the law of fire, Senior Chaos Divine Flame, you should be able to help me comprehend the law of fire's fundamental profundity overnight, right? Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, the Chaos Divine Earth was speechless. After all, the Chaos Divine Flame was indeed able to help Duan Lingtian comprehend the law of fire's fundamental profundity overnight. If you obtain a fire-type king-grade celestial method or divine ability, I'll help you comprehend the law of fire's fundamental profundity, the fire elemental profundity, within 3 hours. The primal Chaos Divine Flame's ancient and prideful voice resounded. Chapter 2970. Chaos Divine Flame, what are you being so smug about? The Chaos Divine Earth said angrily as soon as the Chaos Divine Flame finished speaking. If it wasn't for the fact that this brat has been using you to refine pills and is familiar with you, he would have been able to sense the fire elemental profundity. You're able to help him comprehend the fire elemental profundity in 3 hours? The Chaos Divine Flame's words belittled the Chaos Divine Earth as though helping Duan Lingtian to comprehend the Earth elemental profundity in one night was not worth mentioning. How could the Chaos Divine Earth endure such humiliation? Alas, the Chaos Divine Flame remained calm in the face of the Chaos Divine Earth's anger. The process isn't important. I only care about the results. If you want to be my boss, you have to at least surpass me in a certain aspect. However, based on the current situation, you can't even help him comprehend the fire elemental profundity as quickly as I can. How are you qualified to be my boss? A hint of disdain could be heard in the Chaos Divine Flame's voice when it spoke. The Chaos Divine Flame was so angry that it was at a loss for words. After all, it did not know how to respond to the Chaos Divine Flame's words. Old Flame, you're really ruthless. Little Two is such a talkative child, but he fell asleep because of you. The profound Divine Metal's voice rang in the air. It was obvious it was taking pleasure in Duan Lingtian's misfortune. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's attention was no longer on the 5 divine elements in his body. His eyes were as bright as the stars as he thought to himself. As it turns out, the Chaos Divine Flame can help me comprehend the law of fire's fundamental profundity, the fire elemental profundity? Moreover, it can help me comprehend the law of fire's fundamental profundity? Once I obtain a fire-type king-grade celestial method or divine ability, I'll be able to comprehend it? With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian became excited. At the same time, he was eager to obtain a fire-type king-grade celestial method or divine ability in the near future. The royal auction will only be held when night falls. Let's take a look around the solitary nation's royal palace. Let's go to the library first. When Duan Lingtian remembered the imperial family's auction would only begin at night and it was still early in the morning, he called out to Lu Guanglin and both of them left the courtyard together. I'm sure Jialong is busy comprehending the wind-type king-grade divine ability right now. I won't disturb him. After taking a look at Huang Jialong's residence, Duan Lingtian brought Lu Guanglin out of the palace the solitary nation's imperial family had arranged for them. Soon after, Duan Lingtian's done and Duan Lingtian Huang Di and Sir, the people living in that palace are from the East Ming nation. They are here for the golden nematode that will be auctioned tonight. Lu Guanglin said when Duan Lingtian looked over. The nation? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. He had come to the imperial family's auction to obtain the golden nematode, one of the main ingredients needed to refine the profound golden pill. The emperor of the supporting Fall nation had personally asked the emperor of the solitary nation for the golden nematode. If the emperors of the Moran nation and the East Ming nation had not asked the emperor of the solitary nation for the golden nematode, the emperor of the solitary nation would have given it to the emperor of the supporting Fall nation as a favor. However, since the emperors of the Moran nation and the East Ming nation wanted the golden nematode as well, the emperor of the solitary nation could only put the golden nematode up for auction. This way it would be fair and they would not offend each other. After all, it was not wise to offend the emperors of the other nations for the sake of a favor. While Duan Lingtian and Lu Guanglin were looking at the people from the East Ming nation, the people from the East Ming nation also noticed the duo. These two people are from the supporting Fall nation. Don't tell me that purple-clad young man is the genius sectless cultivator from the supporting Fall nation, Duan Lingtian? It should be him. I heard that there are only 2 young men among the 5 people from the supporting Fall nation. One of them is Huang Jialong, the young master of the supporting Fall nation's Passage City. I've met Huang Jialong before so I know him. He's not Huang Jialong. As the people from the East Ming nation discussed among themselves, their eyes finally landed on one of the two young men who was leading the group. The young man was dressed in a gray robe. He had a cold expression on his face and a sheathed sword on his waist. He looked like a cold-faced swordsman. Duanling Tian? Hearing the discussions of the group of people behind him, the originally indifferent eyes of the gray-clothed youth flickered for a rare moment. In the next moment, swoosh. His eyes were as sharp as swords as he looked at Duanling Tian. His divine consciousness followed the gray-clad young man. In just a blink of an eye, his divine consciousness told him that the purple-clad young man was not even 100 years old. It's really him. He was certain the young man who had walked out of the Supporting Fall Nation's temporary residence was the genius sectless cultivator from the Supporting Fall Nation. It's him. When the gray-clad young man discovered Duanling Tian was not even 100 years old, the silver-clad young man beside him had also discovered Duanling Tian was not even 100 years old. His eyes narrowed slightly. It seems like he's indeed Duanling Tian. He's not even 100 years old, but he defeated Huang Jialong, the young master of the Supporting Fall Nation's Passage City, with just one move. Huang Jialong is considered one of the strongest peak overarching heavenly supreme celestials. He's only a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial, but he defeated Huang Jialong with just one move. Most importantly, according to the news from the Supporting Fall Nation, he didn't use the power of the law. The silver-clad young man looked at the gray-clad young man next to him and asked, "Brother Juyun, do you think this is possible?" A hint of fear could be seen in the silver-clad young man's eyes as he looked at the gray-clad young man. Previously, during the Southern Heaven combat in the East Ming Nation, the gray-clad young man who was widely acknowledged as the strongest person below Celestial Dukes in the East Ming Nation had been defeated with just one move. From the beginning until the end, the gray-clad young man did not even draw his sword. He only used his celestial origin energy and the profundity of the law to form a sword and sent the gray-clad young man flying. Even though the gray-clad young man had held back, the gray-clad young man was still severely injured. It took him half a month to recover from his injuries. Moreover, the gray-clad young man was only a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial, and he was not even 100 years old. From that moment on, the gray-clad young man had replaced him as the strongest person below Celestial Dukes in the East Ming Nation. The gray-clad young man was completely convinced by the gray-clad young man's strength. The world is full of wonders. It's not impossible for a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial to defeat a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial who hasn't comprehended any profundity of the law. The gray-clad young man's eyes were calm, and his voice was emotionless. The gray-clad young man was none other than Ling Jueyun, the genius sectless cultivator who had risen to fame during the Southern Heaven combat in the East Ming Nation. "Brother Juyun, are you confident you can win if you fight him?" the silver-clad young man asked. "I don't know much about him, so I can't say I'm confident I can defeat him," Ling Jueyun replied indifferently. "It seems like the gray-clad young man is the genius sectless cultivator who appeared in the East Ming Nation not long ago. He's really not an ordinary person." Duanling Tian looked at Ling Jueyun from afar. When he discovered the gray-clad young man was not even 100 years old, he could not help but speculate. In fact, he felt a sense of camaraderie when he saw the gray-clad young man. I wonder if he's a celestial who has reincarnated. If he is, he must have been extraordinary in his past life. If he isn't, his innate talent is heaven-defying. Duanling Tian thought to himself. "Guanglin, let's go." After retracting his gaze from Ling Jueyun, Duanling Tian called out to Lu Guanglin before he led the way into the Imperial Palace. Duanling Tian's destination was the library in the Imperial Palace of the Solitary Nation. The library was a library that the Solitary Nation opened to its guests. There were many books, some memory celestial talismans and some floating image pearls inside. The floating image pearls in the library recorded the duels between powerhouses. However, most of the floating image pearls recorded the duels between powerhouses below the Celestial King realm. Even if there were floating image pearls that recorded the duels between powerhouses above the Celestial King realm, they were only Celestial Kings who had yet to comprehend the profundities of the laws. The Solitary Nation had a few floating image pearls that recorded the duels between powerhouses above the Celestial King realm who had comprehended the profundities of the laws, but they were not kept in the library. This was because those were valuable items that the Solitary Nation's Imperial Palace was unwilling to reveal. In fact, the Imperial Palace of the Solitary Nation also had floating image pearls that recorded the duels between Celestial Dukes who had comprehended the profundities of the laws, but they were not kept in the library. "Brother Juyun, Do you want me to challenge him and the people from the supporting Fall Nation to a duel on your behalf? If he loses to you, the supporting Fall Nation will forfeit the bid for the golden nematode. The silver-clad young man narrowed his eyes and asked for Ling Jueyun's opinion when he saw Duan Lingtian and Lu Guanglin leaving. What if I lose? Ling Jueyun asked indifferently. Lose? The silver-clad young man's mouth twitched. He did not expect the arrogant Ling Jueyun would say such a thing. Moreover, his opponent was only a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial. The group of people standing behind the two young men was also confused. They looked at Ling Jueyun's back in surprise. It was as though they had just met Ling Jueyun for the first time. I'm Ling Jueyun, a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial. I don't care who it is as long as they can withstand a sword strike from me, I'll admit defeat. Previously, during the Southern Heaven combat in the East Ming Nation, the young man's arrogant words were out of his mind. However, today the young man actually said he might lose to the genius sectless cultivator from the supporting Fall Nation. This was unbelievable. Chapter 2971. In the Library of the Solitary Nation's Imperial Palace. After revealing his identity, Duan Lingtian brought Lu Guanglin into the library. Guanglin, since you're here you can look through the things that interest you. There's no need to follow me. After entering the library, Duan Lingtian noticed that Lu Guanglin's eyes lit up when he saw the books, memory celestial talismans and floating image pearls on the shelves. He could tell that Lu Guanglin was also interested in the books, memory celestial talismans, and floating image pearls in the library of the solitary nation. Thank you, my lord. Lu Guanglin thanked Duan Lingtian profusely before he began to wander around the library. There were thousands of books, memory celestial talismans and floating image pearls in the library. It would take at least a few years to finish reading all of them. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian and Lu Guanglin only had a day to read all of them. Therefore they could only browse selectively to learn more about the books. Duan Lingtian's figure shuttled back and forth in the library. Duan Lingtian glanced at the books, memory celestial talismans and floating image pearls in the library. Detailed explanation of the laws and profundities? After a while, Duan Lingtian's attention was attracted by a shabby and ancient book. He reached out and picked it up. This. After picking it up, Duan Lingtian discovered that apart from the cover and the first few pages, there was not a single complete page in the back of the book. Some pages were only left with 10 to 20% of them. Only a few words could be seen. Although the book was shabby, Duan Lingtian continued to read it with great interest. This was because he discovered that the shabby book recorded some of the profundities of the laws. For example, the various profundities of the law of earth were recorded in the book. The fundamental profound meaning of the law of earth was the element of earth. Other profound meanings included gravitational space, ground evasion, vibration, recovery. Because the page was incomplete, Duan Lingtian could only see this part of the profound meaning of the law of earth. The fundamental profound meaning of the laws of fire was the fire elemental essence. Other profound meanings included explosion, corrosion, fire elemental technique. But because the page was incomplete, only these profound meanings of the laws of fire could be seen. As for the law of metal, it was even more incomplete. Only the fundamental profundity, the metal elemental profundity, and another profundity called the metal body technique were visible. The laws of wind are rather complete. There are 7 or 8 profound meanings recorded. Duan Lingtian flipped through the books in his hands, feeling dazzled. All sorts of profound mysteries of the laws were displayed before his eyes. The laws of wood, the laws of water, the laws of light, the laws of darkness, the laws of ice, the laws of thunder. Of course, the pages that recorded some of the laws and profundities were incomplete, and only the basic profundities could be seen. Every law has its own fundamental profundity. For example, the law of wood has the wood elemental essence, the law of darkness has the dark elemental essence, and the law of thunder has the thunder elemental essence. Duan Lingtian closed his eyes and slowly digested the information he had just read. To a certain extent, the profundities of the laws of heaven and earth were considered profundities of the laws of heaven and earth. Apart from the fundamental profundities, the other profundities of the laws of heaven and earth were divided into the rudimentary stage, the initial stage and the mastery stage. As it turns out, king-grade celestial methods and divine abilities can only help one comprehend the profundities of the laws of heaven and earth to the rudimentary stage. If one wants to progress further, one must find a royal-grade celestial method or divine ability that contains the same profundities of the laws of heaven and earth to the initial stage. If one wants to comprehend the profundities of the laws of heaven and earth to the mastery stage, one must not only obtain a king-grade celestial method or divine ability, but one must also obtain an emperor-grade celestial method or divine ability that contains the same profundities of the laws of heaven and earth. The profundities of the laws of heaven and earth are divided into the rudimentary stage, the initial stage, and the mastery stage. The profundities of the laws of heaven and earth are completely different from one another. Moreover, if one has mastered some complementary profundities of the laws of heaven and earth, the profundities of the laws of heaven and earth will not be as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Duan Tian needed some time to digest all the information that the book had given him. Duan Tian needed some time to digest all the information. During this day, Duan Tian's greatest gain was the information about the profundities of the laws of heaven and earth. At the very least, he had gained a deeper understanding of the profundities of the laws of heaven and earth. Time continued to pass by quietly. In just a blink of an eye, evening had arrived. "My lord, it's about time for us to leave." When Lu Guanglin arrived next to Duan Tian was looking at a mirror image pearl that had been recorded. In the mirror image, two peak overarching heavenly supreme celestials were fighting. Both of them had comprehended the fundamental profundity of the laws of heaven and earth. One of them had comprehended the law of wind's fundamental profundity, the wind elemental profundity. The other person had comprehended the law of fire's fundamental profundity, the fire elemental profundity. Both of them had similar techniques. However, in the end, the person who had comprehended the law of fire emerged victorious. Throughout the entire process, Duan Tian came up with an idiom: fire is fueled by wind. When the peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial who had comprehended the law of fire and had fused with the fire elemental profundity's celestial origin energy with the fire elemental profundity collided with his opponent's celestial origin energy that had fused with the wind elemental profundity, the wind elemental profundity's celestial origin energy soared and defeated his opponent. It seems like the person who has comprehended the law of fire will have an advantage over the person who has comprehended the law of wind. Duan Tian thought to himself. After withdrawing his divine consciousness from the floating image pearl, Duan Tian left the library of the Solitary Nation's imperial palace with Lu Guanglin. After leaving the library, Duan Tian brought Lu Guanglin back to the temporary residence that the imperial family of the supporting Fall Nation had arranged for them. At this time, Huang Yuanfei, Huang Jialong, and old Emo were already waiting in the courtyard. "Brother Duan, you went out?" Huang Jialong was slightly surprised when he saw Duan Tian returning from outside. "Yes." Duan Tian nodded. "I had nothing to do this morning, so I went to the library of the Solitary Nation's imperial palace to take a look. I thought you'd stay in seclusion like me and focus on comprehending the fundamental profundities of the celestial methods and divine abilities." Huang Jialong smiled. "However, although I've heard that the fundamental profundities of the laws are easier to comprehend compared to other profundities, I still couldn't figure it out even after a day and night." Huang Jialong shook his head when he reached the end of his sentence. Huang Yuanfei scoffed. "You're trying to comprehend the fundamental profundity of the law of wind, the wind elemental profundity, in just a day and a night? Even in the entire profound nether mansion, there might not be anyone with such innate talent," Huang Yuanfei said. Huang Jialong smiled wryly. He did not expect his words would incur his father's displeasure. It must be because he didn't have the chance to comprehend the law of wind himself. "He must be displeased when he sees my son comprehending the law of wind," Huang Jialong comforted himself inwardly. At the same time he was secretly pleased. Huang Yuanfei was unaware of his son's thoughts. If he knew, he would have slapped his son twice. How could he criticize his own father like this? "Brother Duan, did you try to comprehend the law of Earth's fundamental profundity, the Earth elemental profundity, last night?" Huang Jialong did not dare to argue with Huang Yuanfei, so he shifted his attention to Duan Tian. "Yes." Duan Tian nodded. "How was it?" Huang Jialong asked. "It went well," Duan Tian said. "Successful?" When Huang Jialong heard Duan Tian's words, he assumed that Duan Tian was just brushing him off. Huang Yuanfei and Elder Mo naturally had similar thoughts. Never in their wildest dreams could they have imagined Duan Tian had comprehended the Earth elemental profundity, the Earth elemental profundity. "City Lord Huang, Elder Mo." After a while, a loud voice came from outside and a tall figure walked in. The newcomer was clad in silver light armor and had a tall and sturdy build. This person was none other than the commander of the Imperial Guards, He Feng, who had led them to the Solitary Nation's palace a few days ago. Commander He. Huang Yuanfei nodded at He Feng, while Elder Imo only nodded at He Feng as a form of greeting. Where is Bai Gang? At this moment, He Feng nodded at Duanling Tian and Huang Jialong before he looked around and discovered one person was missing from the group of people from the supporting Fall Nation. He followed Senior Bai Zhenyu back to the Flying Tiger clan's branch. Huang Yuanfei replied. What reward does Senior Bai Zhenyu intend to give him? He Feng's eyes widened slightly. He knew Bai Gang had returned with Bai Zhenyu to receive his reward for finding a royal-grade celestial weapon for the Flying Tiger clan's branch. The 9th Prince of the Solitary Nation had sent a message to the Emperor of the Solitary Nation when Duanling Tian and Huang Jialong had obtained a royal-grade celestial sword from a sword-shaped origin stone. When the Emperor of the Solitary Nation learned Bai Gang was going to hand the royal-grade celestial sword to the Flying Tiger clan's branch, he knew Bai Gang was going to be lucky. Senior Bai Zhenyu has promised to let him enter the cleansing pool in the Flying Tiger clan's branch. Huang Yuanfei smiled. Bai Gang was his brother. With such a great opportunity he was happy for Bai Gang. What? He Feng's expression changed slightly as he gasped. The cleansing pool? The cleansing pool in the Flying Tiger clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion? It's said to be able to help a copper flying tiger evolve into a silver flying tiger in just 10 years? That's right. Huang Yuanfei nodded. That fellow. He'll be even more proud of himself in the future. He Feng shook his head with a wry smile on his face. However, his eyes shone brightly. It was clear he was happy for Bai Gang. Chapter 2972. Although the auction held by the Solitary Nation's royal family was called the Royal Auction, it was not held in the royal palace. Duanling Tian was not surprised by this. After all, there would be all kinds of people participating in the auction. Naturally, the imperial family of the Solitary Nation would not allow all of them to enter the imperial palace. The imperial auction was held in an auction venue that was 10,000 meters away from the imperial palace of the Solitary Nation. The auction venue belonged to the imperial family of the Solitary Nation. It was usually rented to sects and clans to hold auctions. In the Solitary Nation, the imperial family would hold an imperial auction every once in a while. It had become a tradition in the Solitary Nation. The threshold to enter the imperial auction was usually the highest among all the auctions in the Solitary Nation. Those who could not prove their identity or those with ordinary identities would have to spend a large amount of celestial crystals to enter the auction venue. Duanling Tian, the emperor of the supporting Fall Nation, was an honored guest of the imperial family of the Solitary Nation. Naturally, they were arranged to enter one of the best rooms in the auction venue. Not only that, but there was also a banner with the word supporting Fall Nation written on it outside the window of the private room that was next to the auction venue. It was obvious the flag was meant to inform the people outside of the room about the identity of the people in the room. I'm afraid this flag is meant for the people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation. Duanling Tian walked up to the window of the room. With just a glance, he saw that there were 2 room windows nearby that were diagonally facing him. There was also a flag hanging above them. One of the flags had the words East Ming Nation written on it while the other one had the words Moran Nation written on it. At the same time, the people who entered the auction venue also noticed the flags hanging outside the windows of the 3 rooms upstairs. The people from the supporting Fall Nation, the East Ming Nation, and the Moran Nation are all here? Even the flags are hanging outside. It seems like the people from the 3 nations are here for the same thing. It seems like I made the right choice to come to the imperial auction of the Solitary Nation. It's a good thing I didn't leave. Initially, I just wanted to stay and watch the show. I didn't expect to see a treasure being auctioned. It must be something extraordinary if it can attract the people from the 3 nations. I'm really looking forward to it. Most of the people from Grade 9 and Grade 8 forces who had gathered in the capital of the Solitary Nation because of the appearance of the Royal Grade Celestial Sword. These people had decided to stay in the capital of the Solitary Nation even after the Royal Grade Celestial Sword had been decided to go to the Imperial Auction today. Originally they just wanted to join in the fun. Who would have thought that a treasure would appear in the Imperial Auction held by the Solitary Nation's Imperial family? Moreover, it was a treasure that even the people from the supporting Fall Nation, the East Ming Nation, and the Moran Nation were interested in. Furthermore, judging from the flags hanging from the windows of the 3 private rooms, the people inside were all sent by the emperors of the 3 countries. In other words, the treasures that appeared in the Solitary Nation's royal auction this time could even tempt the emperors of the 3 nations. The breathing of the people from the Grade 9 and Grade 8 forces quickened. This was especially true for the people from the Grade 8 forces. They were already rubbing their hands together, preparing to bid for that item with all their might. As for the people from the Grade 9 forces, they were well aware of their own limitations, but they were also looking forward to the excitement of the auction. Don't tell me you don't know that the people from the 3 nations are here for the golden nematode that's required to refine the profound golden pill? Just as the group of people from the Grade 9 and Grade 8 forces were discussing among themselves, some of the locals of the solitary nation could not help but remind them of the situation. Profound golden pill? Golden nematode? The people from the Grade 9 and Grade 8 forces were disappointed when they heard the people from the solitary nation's royal grade celestial sword. Although the golden nematode was difficult to obtain, it was not a rare treasure. Even if they obtained the golden nematode and gathered all the other ingredients needed to refine the profound golden pill, they might not be able to find someone to successfully refine it. Unless they could hire a celestial alchemist at the king grade or above to refine the pill. Moreover, even a Grade 7 force might not have a king grade celestial alchemist, let alone a celestial alchemist. Moreover, the success rate of a Duke grade celestial alchemist refining the profound golden pill was less than 1%. After all, out of 100 Duke grade celestial alchemists, there might not even be one Duke grade celestial alchemist who could successfully refine the profound golden pill. As for prominent celestial alchemists, there might not even be 1 in 10,000 prominent celestial alchemists who could successfully refine the profound golden pill. For this reason, the golden nematode was useless to most people even if they obtained it. Little Tian, are you really confident you'll be able to refine 2 profound golden pills with the help of 2 golden nematodes? Huang Yuanfei asked as he looked at Duanling Tian with a solemn expression on his face. Uncle Huang, I'm not a boastful person. Duanling Tian replied. Duanling Tian's words were, without a doubt, a reply to Huang Yuanfei. He was not boasting, he was truly confident. All right, I believe you. Duanling Tian nodded. After a while, the auction hall was filled with people. One could see the bustling crowd through the windows of the private rooms. Not long after, the auction officially began. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Imperial Auction of the Solitary Nation. A skinny, gray-clad old man walked up to the innermost stage of the auction hall. He glanced at the auction hall indifferently as he spoke. This old man is not simple. When the old man walked up to the auction stage, Duanling Tian had a feeling the old man was not simple. He must be a celestial king. Father, this old man is not simple. At this moment, Huang Jialong could tell the old man was not simple. Moreover, the old man was not as enthusiastic as the other auctioneers. He stood there with a calm expression on his face as though he was saying, "It's up to you whether you want to buy it or not." Of course he's not simple. He's a one basic celestial king who serves the emperor of the solitary nation. Huang Yuanfei said. As the emperor of the solitary nation, it was only natural that he had many celestial kings by his side. After all, not every celestial king was willing to serve the emperor of a grade 8 nation. A one basic celestial king? Huang Jialong sucked in a cold breath. Duanling Tian on the other hand remained calm. He had already sensed the old man's presence earlier. After all, he had used the consumable royal grade celestial weapon to boost his strength for a short period of time. Therefore he was very familiar with the aura of a celestial king. In today's auction, I hope that everyone will be able to get what they want. The gray-clad old man stood on the auction stage and said indifferently, "Next up is the first item of the solitary nation's imperial auction." As soon as the gray-clad old man finished speaking, he raised his hand, and a celestial talisman that shone with a faint purple light appeared in his hand. This is a celestial talisman inscribed by a celestial king who has comprehended the law of thunder's thunder arrow profundity. It's called the arrow explosion talisman. Once this arrow explosion talisman is crushed, it'll release tens of thousands of lightning arrows that will kill anyone below a celestial duke within a radius of 10 meters. The old man explained as he took out the celestial talisman, apart from powerful overarching heavenly supreme celestials, ordinary overarching heavenly supreme celestials won't be able to survive within a radius of 100 meters. Even if it's a one basic celestial duke or a two-form celestial duke, the arrow explosion talisman will be able to injure them as long as they're within a short distance. After the old man finished speaking, he swept his gaze across the auction hall before he continued to say, "The starting bid for this arrow explosion talisman is 3,000 prominent celestial crystals." If it was an ordinary auction host, he would have bragged about the value of the arrow explosion talisman. After the old man said what he needed to say, he didn't say anything else. 3,000 prominent celestial crystals. As soon as the old man finished speaking, someone made a bid. It was an old man dressed in embroidered robes. I can buy this arrow explosion talisman for my grandson to protect himself. Clearly, the arrow explosion talisman was a great defensive weapon for those below a celestial duke. There's such a celestial talisman? Duan Lingtian was shocked. It's possible to inscribe such a powerful offensive celestial talisman through the use of the law of thunder? Duan Lingtian knew there were offensive celestial talismans in the past. However, the offensive celestial talismans he knew were of little value. In terms of power, they were nothing compared to the arrow explosion talisman before him. Once the arrow explosion talisman was crushed, anyone below a celestial duke within a radius of 10 meters would die. How terrifying was this celestial talisman? This arrow explosion talisman is considered a low-end law celestial talisman. A powerful law celestial talisman can kill a celestial duke or even a celestial king. Huang Yuanfei said. A law celestial talisman? When Duan Lingtian learned the offensive celestial talisman was called a law celestial talisman, he was dumbfounded. A law celestial talisman can kill celestial dukes and celestial kings? Yes. Huang Yuanfei nodded. Although a law celestial talisman that can kill a celestial duke is precious, it's not difficult to obtain it. As for a law celestial talisman that can kill a celestial king, it's not easy to obtain it. This is because even a celestial emperor would have to spend a lot of time and effort to inscribe a law celestial talisman that can kill a celestial king. As for a celestial lord, it's basically impossible for him to inscribe a law celestial talisman that can kill a celestial king. After all, there's a limit to how much energy he can infuse into a law celestial talisman. After listening to Huang Yuanfei's words, Duan Lingtian gained a deeper understanding of the power of a law celestial talisman. A celestial emperor can inscribe a law celestial talisman that can kill a celestial king? Chapter 2973. How powerful was a celestial king? Although Duan Lingtian had temporarily gained strength comparable to a celestial king through the consumable royal-grade celestial weapon, he could still sense the strength of a celestial king's celestial origin, energy and soul. How could such a powerhouse be killed by a mere celestial talisman? Although celestial emperors can inscribe celestial talismans that can kill celestial kings, it's extremely difficult to inscribe celestial talismans. Moreover, the inscriber has to be a powerful celestial emperor as well. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Huang Yuanfei added, based on what I've heard, most of the celestial talismans that can kill celestial kings are made by titled celestial emperors. Titled celestial emperors. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath as his eyes widened slightly. Titled celestial emperors were powerful celestial emperors who had passed the test of the title temple. They were the cream of the crop among celestial emperors. Duan Lingtian had heard about this when he was still in the borderlands. However, the strongest person in the Southern Heaven Territory seemed to be the Southern Heaven Celestial Lord, the ruler of the Southern Heaven Territory. Although the Southern Heaven Celestial Lord was a titled celestial lord, titled celestial lords were considered the cream of the crop among celestial lords. Even the weakest celestial emperor was stronger than a titled celestial lord. There were no celestial emperors in the Southern Heaven Territory, let alone the cream of the crop among titled celestial emperors. Moreover, it said that not all celestial kings can be killed by the celestial talismans inscribed by titled celestial emperors. Those celestial kings who can be killed are usually weaker celestial kings who have not comprehended the profundities of a law. Upon hearing Huang Yuanfei's words, Duan Lingtian finally understood what was going on. If that was the case, he could accept it. Otherwise, it would be too ridiculous. After all, how could a celestial king be killed by a celestial talisman? 4,300 prominent celestial crystals. 4,500 prominent celestial crystals. While Duan Lingtian and Huang Yuanfei were conversing, the price of the law celestial talisman, the arrow explosion talisman, continued to rise. In just a blink of an eye, the price had risen to 4,800 prominent celestial crystals. Based on the power of this arrow explosion talisman, it seems like it was inscribed by a powerful celestial king. Based on the effect of this arrow explosion talisman and the fact that it's a one-time use item, it'll be difficult for the price to exceed 5,000 prominent celestial crystals. In the next moment, as if to prove Huang Yuanfei's words, after the price of the arrow explosion talisman was raised to 5,000 high-grade celestial crystals, no one else increased the price. Although the arrow explosion talisman is not bad and can be given to the younger generation to protect themselves, it can only be used once. In the 1,000 lands, 5,000 superior celestial crystals is the maximum price for a talisman of this level. If you still want to raise the price at this time, then your head must be kicked by a donkey. 5,000 high-grade celestial crystals. This arrow explosion talisman has sold for the price it deserves. Similar whispers could be heard throughout the auction hall. 5,000 high-grade immortal crystals going once. 5,000 high-grade celestial crystals going twice. On the auction stage, the gray-clad old man said indifferently, 5,000 high-grade celestial crystals going thrice. Sold. As soon as the gray-clad old man finished speaking, he raised his hand. The celestial talisman in his hand seemed to have transformed into a bolt of lightning as it shot toward the person who had bid for the arrow explosion talisman. In just a blink of an eye, the arrow explosion talisman arrived in front of the middle-aged man who had bid for the arrow explosion talisman. Swoosh. As soon as the middle-aged man received the arrow explosion talisman, he took out 5,000 prominent celestial crystals and placed them in a spatial ring. Then he used his celestial origin energy to guide the spatial ring to the old man on the auction stage. This scene could be said to be a perfect example of one hand for the money, one hand for the goods. The second item is a mediocre Duke-grade celestial pill, the Origin Explosion Pill. The starting price for this Origin Explosion Pill is 5,000 prominent celestial crystals. On the auction stage, the old man took out a pill bottle. He took out a pill from the pill bottle and showed it to the crowd before putting it back on the table. An Origin Explosion Pill? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. The Origin Explosion Pill was a common celestial pill in the Devata realms. However, it could only be refined by a supreme celestial alchemist. The Origin Explosion Pill was divided into three types: the Supreme Origin Explosion Pill, the King Origin Explosion Pill, and the Royal Origin Explosion Pill. The three types of Origin Explosion Pills were further divided into three grades: primitive, mediocre, and superior. The superior grade was the best while the inferior grade was the worst. A mediocre Duke grade celestial pill, the Origin Explosion Pill, can elevate a celestial Duke's celestial origin energy by 2 levels in just 15 minutes. Naturally, if a 9th grade celestial Duke consumes it, his celestial origin energy will only be elevated to the peak of a celestial Duke's celestial origin energy for 15 minutes. A 10 directions celestial Duke would only be able to elevate his celestial origin energy after consuming it. As a celestial alchemist, Duan Lingtian knew a thing or two about the Origin Explosion Pill. While Duan Lingtian was lost in his thoughts, the price of the Origin Explosion Pill had already risen to 8,000 prominent celestial crystals. After all, the Origin Explosion Pill could turn the tables in a battle between celestial dukes. In the end, the Origin Explosion Pill was sold for 13,000 prominent celestial crystals. Following that, the gray-clad old man brought out many other items. However, most of them were celestial talismans, pills, and the like. Although the prices of the items increased, none of them caught Duan Lingtian's attention. The 9th item is a pair of golden nematodes, and they'll be auctioned together. The starting bid for the 2 golden nematodes is 30,000 high-grade immortal crystals. The gray-clad old man announced. However, no one made a bid for the 2 golden nematodes for a few breaths after he finished speaking. Instead, some people began to complain. The starting bid for these 2 golden nematodes is 30,000 prominent celestial crystals. As far as I know, the price of these golden nematodes in the black market is only 15,000 prominent celestial crystals. However, the Solitary Nation's royal auction actually set the starting price at this price. It's because the imperial family of the Solitary Nation knows that the emperors of the supporting Fall Nation, the East Ming Nation, and the Moran Nation are after the golden nematodes. The rarer an item is, the more valuable it is. Based on the wealth of the 3 nations, the price of these 2 golden nematodes is definitely higher than the black market price. That's right. Although the black market price of these golden nematodes is higher than the black market price, it's often priceless. As everyone discussed among themselves, an indifferent voice rang from the direction where the people from the supporting Fall Nation were seated. 30,000 prominent celestial crystals. It was none other than Huang Yuanfei who had joined the bidding. Father, you're bidding so soon? This isn't your style. Huang Jialong was slightly surprised. This was not his first time attending an auction with his father. However, even if his father wanted something, he would not be the first to bid. Huang Jialong was dumbfounded by what he saw next. Apart from Huang Jialong, everyone else in the auction hall was shocked as well. I thought the people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation want the golden nematodes as well? What? What's going on? Duan Lingtian was stunned as well. This was because after Huang Yuanfei bid 30,000 prominent celestial crystals, The people from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation did not bid at all. The people in the auction hall who had been anticipating the people from the three nations to compete for the golden nematodes were in disbelief. 30,000 prominent celestial crystals, going once. 30,000 prominent celestial crystals, going twice. The gray-clad old man who had been calm all this while began to lose his composure. His voice was a lot louder when he said, "Going twice." He glanced at the people from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation's rooms, only to discover that there was still no movement from them. In the end, the gray-clad old man had no choice but to bid again. 30,000 prominent celestial crystals, going thrice. As soon as the gray-clad old man finished speaking, it meant the two golden nematodes in his hands belonged to Huang Yuanfei from the supporting Fall nation. What's going on? Didn't the people from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation come for the golden nematodes as well? I wonder, are the people from the Moran nation and the East Ming nation asleep? I wonder what the people from the Moran nation and the East Ming nation are thinking. What are they doing? While the auction hall was in an uproar, the private rooms where the people from the Moran kingdom and the East Ming kingdom were in were not calm either. In the room where the people from the Moran nation were seated, "Uncle Ian, why aren't you bidding for the golden nematodes? Moreover, you told me not to bid. What's going on?" The seventh prince of the Moran nation said with a frown on his face as he looked at the blue-clad middle-aged man in front of him. Although the Moran nation might not be able to refine the golden nematodes into the profound golden pill even if they managed to obtain the golden nematodes, there was still a chance. Nevertheless, there was still a glimmer of hope. However, now that they had lost the two golden nematodes, there was no hope at all. The blue-clad middle-aged man was a one-basic celestial king who served the emperor of the Moran nation. For this reason, the seventh prince of the Moran nation could only suppress his anger. Earlier, I received a voice transmission from Huang Yuanfei from Passage City in the supporting Fall nation, so I've decided to give up on the golden nematodes. Facing the seventh prince's question and facing the other people's doubtful gazes, the blue-robed middle-aged man unhurriedly picked up the teacup on the table, and continued to leisurely drink his tea. Meanwhile, in the room where the people from the East Ming nation were seated. "Elder Hu, why did you give up? Moreover, you didn't allow me to bid. Aren't you holding Brother Juyun back? How are you going to explain this to my father if you don't bring the golden nematodes back?" A young man dressed in a silver robe said with a frown on his face as he looked at the old man who was the leader of the group of people from the East Ming nation who had come to the capital of the solitary nation. "Second prince, although you're a prince, you're not as calm as little brother Ling." The old man glanced at the silver-clad young man before he shifted his gaze to the gray-clad young man. Chapter 2974. Brother Juyun, aren't you worried? The second prince of the East Ming nation smiled bitterly when he saw how calm Ling Juyun was. It was as if he could remain calm even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. "I trust Elder Hu." Ling Juyun looked at the old man who was the leader of the group from the East Ming nation before he shifted his gaze away. The old man looked at Ling Juyun approvingly and nodded in satisfaction. "Little brother Ling, I won't let you down. Based on your words, I'll do my best to obtain the profound golden pill for you." As soon as the old man finished speaking, his eyes flashed with a hint of killing intent. In the private room where the people from the supporting Fall nation were seated, the gazes of Duan Ling Tian, Huang Jialong, and Elder Mo descended upon Huang Yuanfei. Although the current situation was a little strange, they unanimously felt that Huang Yuanfei must have done something in secret. "Father, what did you do?" Huang Jialong looked at his father in shock. It was as though this was the first time he had met his father. Duan Ling Tian and Elder Mo did not ask any questions, but their eyes were filled with confusion as they looked at Huang Yuanfei. "It's nothing. I just sent a voice transmission to the leaders of the East Ming nation and the Moran nation and told them that if they give me the golden nematodes, I'll take out a profound golden pill for them to bid on." Huang Yuanfei replied nonchalantly to the confusion on the faces of the three men from the Duan Ling Tian nation. "I told them that I can ask a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine two profound golden pills with two golden nematodes. However, I'll take one for myself and the other for them to bid on." After Huang Yuanfei finished speaking, he looked at Duan Ling Tian again. The most important person in this matter was Duan Ling Tian. After all, if Duan Ling Tian failed to refine two profound golden pills or only one profound golden pill, he would be labeled as a liar. Moreover, he would offend the two powerhouses from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation. The two powerhouses were both one basic celestial kings. Huang Jialong was stunned and so was Elder Mo. They did not expect Huang Yuanfei would lie to the leaders of the two nations and say he could ask a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill for him. Naturally, the king-grade celestial alchemist would be able to refine the profound golden pill. However, there was no king-grade celestial alchemist here. Duan Lingtian was grade celestial alchemist would be able to refine the profound golden pill. At this moment, both of their gazes landed on Duan Lingtian at the same time. The people from the two nations should only be able to ask a duke-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill. Otherwise, the Emperor of the East Ming nation and the Emperor of the Moran nation would have taken one of the golden nematodes away before His Majesty even asked the Emperor of the Solitary nation. It's precisely because they can't ask a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill that they want both of the golden nematodes to refine the profound golden pill. Huang Yuanfei continued to say, for this reason, when they found out I was able to hire a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine a profound golden pill and offered a profound golden pill to them, they were willing to let me have the two golden nematodes. Brother Duan, Huang Jialong looked at Duan Lingtian with a solemn expression on his face. He knew clearly in his heart that his father was able to make such a decision completely because he trusted this brother Duan. If Duan Lingtian failed to refine the profound golden pill, his father would become enemies with the celestial kings from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation. At this moment, old Emo looked at Duan Lingtian with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Uncle Huang. Duan Lingtian looked at Huang Yuanfei solemnly and said, I won't let you down. He did not expect Huang Yuanfei to trust him so much. Huang Yuanfei was willing to risk offending the celestial kings from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation. If Huang Yuanfei failed to refine the profound golden pill, not only would he offend the two celestial kings, but he would also offend the Emperor of the East Ming nation and the Moran nation. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's heart was filled with warmth. Little Tian, when do you plan to refine the profound golden pill? Huang Yuanfei asked as he handed the two golden nematodes to Duan Lingtian. When Huang Yuanfei won the bid for the golden nematodes, the old man on the stage had sent them to the private room. Huang Yuanfei had also given him 30,000 prominent celestial crystals. Let's wait until the auction ends. Duan Lingtian took the jade box that contained the two golden nematodes as he replied to Huang Yuanfei. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, he looked at Huang Yuanfei and said, Uncle Huang, you can tell the celestial kings from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation to come to the palace we're staying in to bid for the profound golden pill in 10 days. All right. Huang Yuanfei was touched by Duan Lingtian's confidence. He immediately sent a voice transmission to the celestial kings from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation. 10 days? All right. City Governor Huang, I'll bring my men to visit the palace you're staying in 10 days. The celestial kings from the Moran nation quickly responded. City Governor Huang, will you be able to meet the king-grade celestial alchemist? The celestial kings from the East Ming nation were clearly interested in the king-grade celestial alchemist. Old Hu, I'm afraid that won't be possible. The celestial alchemist doesn't like to meet outsiders. Huang Yuanfei replied through voice transmission. Naturally, he could not tell the celestial kings from the East Ming nation that he could not hire a king-grade celestial alchemist and that the person who refined the profound golden pill was a prominent celestial alchemist. In the past, if someone had told him that a prominent celestial alchemist was confident he could refine the profound golden pill, he would not have believed them. However, based on Duan Lingtian's confidence and steadiness, Huang Yuanfei trusted Duan Lingtian. Although it was risky, Huang Yuanfei still trusted him. Nevertheless, he still chose to trust Duan Lingtian. He had a feeling this purple-clad young man who was not even 100 years old had something that ordinary people could not understand. For example, when Duan Lingtian was only a heaven stage overarching heavenly supreme celestial and did not use any profundities, he had defeated his son, Huang Jialong, with just one move. In the past, he did not even dare to think about this. Therefore, he had no way of questioning this purple-clothed young man whom he could not see through at all. What a pity. The celestial kings from the East Ming nation were not disappointed when they heard Huang Yuanfei's words. It was obvious they had expected this outcome. The imperial family's auction continued amidst the confusion in the auction hall. Soon after, the people in the auction hall shifted their attention to the next item. They no longer cared about why the East Ming nation and the Moran nation did not compete with the supporting Fall nation for the two golden nematodes. These are the golden nematodes? Duan Lingtian opened the jade box, and two worms that were as long as an adult's index finger lay in the jade box. The worms were golden in color and as thin as a thread. Although they were lifeless, they gave off a sharp aura. It was as if these golden thread-like worms could easily cut through anything. In fact, a living golden nematode could indeed cut through many things with a swing of its body. It was said that it could even cut a primitive celestial weapon in half with a swing of its body. Mediocre celestial pills could be cut in half with just a few swings of its body. After Duanling Tian learned that the golden nematode was one of the 2 main medicinal ingredients required to refine the profound golden pill, he went to learn more about it. The golden nematode was a type of celestial beast. However, it was a celestial beast without intelligence. It lived on instinct like a wild beast. While Duanling Tian was flipping through the golden nematodes, the auction house was bustling with noise and excitement as the sounds of bidding rose and fell. However, Duanling Tian did not pay much attention to the following items. He did not see anything that piqued his interest. Although Duanling Tian was not interested in any of the items, he did see a few items that piqued his interest. However, he did not manage to buy anything in the end. Based on his expression, it was clear he did not care about the items. It was clear he was only slightly interested in the items. As time passed, the imperial family's auction gradually came to an end. Next up is the last item in the imperial family's auction of the solitary nation. This item is a little special. It was entrusted to us by a senior sectless cultivator who's a 4-phenomenon celestial king. The old man on the stage spoke again. As soon as the old man finished speaking, the entire auction hall fell silent again. However, it did not take long before the crowd burst into an uproar again. Heavens! A 4-phenomenon celestial king entrusted the item to be auctioned? A 4-phenomenon celestial king's item is definitely something extraordinary. What is it? A king-grade celestial pill? Or is it a special treasure? I can't wait to see what's going on. A 4-phenomenon celestial king's treasure must be extraordinary. Meanwhile, the people from the supporting Fall Nation, the East Ming Nation, and the Moran Nation were in an uproar as well. A 4-phenomenon celestial king entrusted the item to be auctioned? Duanling Tian raised an eyebrow. Although he did not know what the 4-phenomenon celestial king had entrusted the item to be auctioned, he knew it would be extraordinary. However, the items that the 4-phenomenon celestial kings put up for auction were definitely not ordinary. After all, the strongest person in the supporting Fall Nation, the East Ming Nation, and the Moran Nation was only a 3-talent celestial king. Even the emperors of the 3 nations would have to treat a sectless cultivator who was a 4-phenomenon celestial king with respect. Soon after, under everyone's watchful eyes, the gray-clad old man on the stage took out a long jade box. The jade box was 3 feet long, 1 foot wide, and half a foot tall. What's that? When the gray-clothed old man raised his hand and slowly opened the jade box, the gazes of everyone present landed on the jade box one after another. They stared at the jade box without blinking. Chapter 2975. A 4-phenomenon celestial king was considered one of the strongest powerhouses in the Thousand Nations territory. How could the items that such an existence would take out to auction be ordinary? For this reason, everyone was filled with anticipation when they heard the old man say that the item was auctioned off by a 4-phenomenon celestial king. What did the rogue cultivator who was a 4-phenomenon celestial king put up for auction in the solitary nation? I didn't expect to see a 4-phenomenon celestial king auctioning off a treasure here. Fortunately, I didn't leave. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to witness such a grand occasion. That's right. I wonder what kind of treasure it is. If it's possible, I'll bid for it at all costs. A 4-phenomenon celestial king auctioned off a treasure that's auctioned off by a 4-phenomenon celestial king can't be ordinary. The jade box is about to be opened. A group of people stared at the jade box in the old man's hand that was slowly opening. Meanwhile, in the room where the people from the supporting Fall Nation were seated, Duanling Tian was also looking at the jade box that was slowly opening in the old man's hand. Crack. The jade box was completely opened. At the same time, the item in the jade box was revealed to everyone. A strangely shaped tree branch was quietly lying in the jade box. Although it was a branch that had been separated, it was emerald green. Even the leaves on it were very lush and did not give off the feeling of wilting at all. Logically speaking, if a tree branch was detached from the tree, it would lose its nutrients and would gradually wither away. However, that tree branch was quietly lying in the jade box. It did not show any signs of decay. Not only that, but it also showed no signs of withering. At this moment, anyone who extended their divine consciousness to touch the tree branch would be able to sense the vitality in it. This is, heavens! Why is there such a thing here? Why is there such a thing here? Just when Duanling Tian's gaze was attracted by the branch in the jade box, 3 voices resounded in his body at almost the same time, and the voices were filled with disbelief. These 3 voices belonged to the profound divine metal, the chaos divine flame, and the chaos divine earth. Do all of you recognize this tree branch? Duan Lingtian asked curiously. At the same time, the atmosphere in the room where the people from the supporting Fall Nation, the East Ming Nation, and the Moran Nation were seated was tense. What's this? Why does it have such a strong vitality? Not only did this tree branch not wither away, but it also has such a strong vitality. It's not an ordinary tree branch. Who knows what tree it is? Maybe it's some kind of rare material? This thing doesn't look ordinary. Although none of the people present could recognize what the branch in the old man's hand on the auction stage was, they could clearly feel that the branch was not simple. Most of the people who knew it? What's this? Yes, what's this thing? Many curious gazes fell on the old man on the auction stage. Many people couldn't help but ask the old man. Facing the curious gazes, the old man said calmly, "What is this?" "I don't know." Phenomenons of the phenomenons heaven, as everyone was stunned. I'm not the only one who doesn't know what it is. Even the 4 phenomenons celestial king who auctioned it doesn't know what it is. The old man continued to speak. What? Even the 4 phenomenons celestial king who auctioned it doesn't know what it is. Oh, how are we supposed to bid for it? I don't even know what this is. Although this thing doesn't look simple, it doesn't seem to have much value before we know how to use it, right? Many people in the auction hall frowned when they learned that even the 4 phenomenons celestial king who auctioned it did not know what it was. Although I don't know what it is, it contains a strong vitality. The old man took the tree branch out of the jade box and showed it to everyone. At the same time, he raised his other hand and slashed it at the tree branch. Buzz. The sound of a saber buzzing rang in the air. Spurt. A faint sound rang in the air as a deep cut appeared on the tree branch. At the same time, the branch swayed as though it would break at any moment. The crowd was puzzled by the old man's actions when a shocking scene unfolded before their eyes. He saw that the broken part of the tree trunk, where the branches were almost cut off, had strands of light green light wriggling, but the broken part was recovering at a very exaggerated speed. About 10 breaths later, the tree trunk that was almost broken completely returned to its original state, as if it had never been damaged. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This is too inconceivable. It was clearly about to break, but in just a few breaths of time, it returned to its original state? This tree branch is definitely not simple. Even if I don't know what this tree branch is made of, I'll do my best to bid for it. It's because of its terrifying recovery ability. In the vast auction venue, the sound of people sucking in cold breaths of air rose and fell like rolling waves, frequent to the extreme. The starting bid for this nameless tree branch is 100,000 prominent celestial crystals. The old man said loudly on the auction stage. After he finished speaking, he quickly added, "Every bid must be at least 10,000 prominent celestial crystals. Moreover, the imperial family of the solitary nation is also interested in this tree branch. Therefore I'll bid for it as well." The old man added. As soon as he said this, it was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. Even the imperial family of the solitary nation was interested in this nameless tree branch? It seems like the 4 phenomenons celestial kings are really auctioning this tree branch. Otherwise, the imperial family of the solitary nation would have already bid for it. Even so, it's possible that the imperial family of the solitary nation is deliberately raising the price of this nameless tree branch. We have to be careful. No matter what, this nameless tree branch is really tempting. I'm afraid the final bid won't be lower than 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. That's equivalent to the price of 2 king-grade celestial weapons. In the auction hall, the sounds of discussion and whispers continued without end. 100,000 prominent celestial crystals. At the same time, a voice rang from the private room where the people from the Moran Nation were seated. The person who made the bid was none other than the leader of the group from the Moran Nation. He was a middle-aged man dressed in a blue robe and had a dignified expression on his face. 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. As soon as the person from the Moran Nation made the bid, the old man on the auction stage said, "Doubling the price of the nameless tree branch." Wow! An uproar broke out instantly. Not only was the old man the second person to bid for the nameless tree branch, but he had also doubled the price of the nameless tree branch. After the old man finished speaking, he added, "This is the price that the imperial family of the solitary nation has set. If someone bids more than 200,000 prominent celestial crystals, the imperial family of the solitary nation will no longer bid for it. As soon as the old man finished speaking, no one made a bid for the nameless tree branch. The imperial family of the solitary nation has set the price at 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. It seems like the imperial family of the solitary nation doesn't think much of the nameless tree branch. Well, it's normal. Even the 4 phenomenon's celestial kings couldn't find any clues about the nameless tree branch. Therefore, the imperial family of the solitary nation has no use for it. 200,000 prominent celestial crystals for a collector's item? That's too extravagant. That's right. It's equivalent to exchanging 2 king-grade celestial weapons for a collector's item. It's impossible for ordinary people to have such boldness. The people from the Moran nation remained silent for a long time. It was clear that they had given up on bidding for the nameless tree branch. 200,000 prominent celestial crystals, going once. The old man on the auction stage began to count down. 210,000 prominent celestial crystals. An old voice rang from the private room where the people from the East Ming nation were seated. It was none other than the old man from the East Ming nation. 250,000 prominent celestial crystals. Huang Yuanfei, who was in the private room where the people from the supporting Fall nation were seated, joined the bid as well. Father, do you know what the nameless tree branch is? Huang Jialong didn't expect his father to participate in the auction and was stunned for a moment. No, I don't. Huang Yuanfei shook his head in response to Huang Jialong's question. I just think it's not as simple as it looks, so I'm just casually bidding for it. If someone else raises the price again, I won't buy it anymore. Casually bidding for it? Huang Jialong was speechless. He did not expect his father to be even more willful than him. Oldemo, do you know what the nameless tree branch is? Huang Yuanfei asked the old man next to him who was frowning. I don't know. The old man shook his head. 260,000 prominent celestial crystals. In the auction hall, a middle-aged man raised his bid, surpassing Huang Yuanfei's bid in one fell swoop. The middle-aged man instantly became the center of attention. Isn't he Gu Zheng, the vice-sect leader of the Great 8,000 Hand sect? It's him? I didn't expect him to be here as well. It seems like Gu Zheng is interested in the nameless tree branch as well. In the profound Nether Mansion's territory, not only were the 1,000 celestial kingdoms and the 1,000 nations territory Grade 8 forces, but there were also some sects and clans that were Grade 8 forces as well. However, most of the Grade 8 sects and clans were not as strong as Grade 8 celestial kingdoms. Even so, they were still stronger than Grade 9 forces. 300,000 prominent celestial crystals. Just as everyone's attention was focused on the vice-sect leader of the 1,000 Hands sect, Gu Zheng, an indifferent voice sounded out from the private room and shifted everyone's attention. Chem? It's the people from the supporting Fall Nation again? The voice came from the private room where the people from the supporting Fall Nation were seated. Chapter 2976. Boy, you must get it. Whatever it takes. If you miss this opportunity, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. The profound divine metal, the chaos divine flame, and the chaos divine earth urged Duanling Tian to bid for the nameless tree branch. Under such circumstances, although Duanling Tian did not know what the nameless tree branch was, he still hastily raised the price. 300,000 prominent celestial crystals. Duanling Tian could not help but smile wryly when he heard Duanling Tian's bid. All the celestial crystals in his possession amounted to about 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. Apart from celestial crystals, he also had king-grade celestial weapons that he could sell in exchange for celestial crystals. Before he came here, Huang Jialong had told him that he could use some items as collateral in exchange for celestial crystals. For example, a complete king-grade celestial weapon could be used as collateral for 100,000 prominent celestial crystals. In the profound Nether Mansion's 1,000 Nations territory, a complete king-grade celestial weapon could be sold for at least 100,000 prominent celestial crystals or even more. Not only are my king-grade celestial weapons complete, but they're also not the worst king-grade celestial weapons. I'll lose a lot of money if I use them as collateral. Duanling Tian thought to himself. Then he thought about the profound divine metal, the chaos divine flame, and the chaos divine earth's reaction. However, it's worth it if I can get the nameless tree branch. Although they had not told him what the nameless tree branch was, it was clear that they had not told him what it was. Based on their reaction, it was clear the nameless tree branch was not ordinary. Could this nameless tree branch be one of the 5 divine elements, the clear heaven's divine wood? Duanling Tian thought to himself. The 5 divine elements corresponded to metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The 5 divine elements were the profound divine metal, the clear heavens divine wood, the world-cleansing divine water, the chaos divine flame and the chaos divine earth. Duanling Tian had heard about this from the chaos divine flame. Brother Duan? Huang Jialong stared at Duanling Tian, dumbfounded, when he saw Duanling Tian joining in the bidding 300,000 prominent celestial crystals. As for Huang Yuanfei and Elder Mo, their gazes also landed on Duanling Tian. Little Tian, do you know what that is? Huang Yuanfei asked tentatively. I don't know. Faced with Huang Yuanfei's question, Duanling Tian smiled bitterly and shook his head. I just feel that this thing isn't simple. If I miss it, I might regret it. This thing is indeed not simple. In my life, this is the first time I've seen such a strange phenomenon. Huang Yuanfei said. If this thing is a medicinal ingredient used to refine celestial pills, the celestial pills refined with this would definitely be extraordinary. At this moment, Huang Jialong regained his senses. He looked at Duanling Tian and asked, Brother Duan, are you suspecting that this nameless tree branch is some kind of alchemy material? However, at this moment, Duanling Tian was staring at the nameless tree branch in the old man's hand. It was as though he did not hear Huang Jialong's question. Huang Jialong was not the only one who thought Duanling Tian was silent. Even Huang Yuanfei and Elder Mo thought Duanling Tian had acquiesced to Huang Jialong's words. That's not the clear heavens divine wood. If it's just the clear heavens divine wood, the 3 of us wouldn't have lost our composure. When the chaos divine flame heard Duanling Tian asking if the tree branch was the clear heavens divine wood from the 5 divine elements, the chaos divine flame immediately denied it. If it's not the clear heavens divine wood, then what is it? Duanling Tian asked. It's the divine tree of life. The profound divine metal said. The divine tree of life? What's that? Duanling Tian asked again. Lad, you don't need to know what the divine tree of life is. All you need to know is that if you obtain one of the main branches from the divine tree of life, you'll have a chance to comprehend the law of life, one of the top laws in the world, the chaos divine flame said. The chaos divine earth continued to speak. Its childish voice was filled with sincerity as though it was worshipping Buddha. The law of life isn't something that can be comprehended through celestial methods and divine abilities. The strongest law that can be comprehended through celestial methods and divine abilities can only be considered a second-tier law. The law of life, on the other hand, is one of the top laws in the world. The chaos divine earth added. As one of the main branches from the divine tree of life, the nameless tree branch won't only allow you to comprehend the law of life. It has many other uses as well. It'll be very beneficial to you in the future. The profound divine metal paused for a moment before it continued to say, naturally, it'll be of great help to us as well. A hint of eagerness could be heard in the profound divine metal's voice when it finished speaking. Lad, as long as you obtain one of the main branches from the divine tree of life, I won't just tell you what I can help you with. If you need help, I'll help you unconditionally. The chaos divine earth said again. Its childish voice was filled with eagerness. Duanling Tian narrowed his eyes when he heard the chaos divine earth's words. It seemed like the main branches from the divine tree of life were of great help to the profound divine metal, the chaos divine flame, and the profound divine metal. Otherwise, they would not have urged him to obtain one of the main branches from the divine tree of life so eagerly. 310,000 prominent celestial crystals. Guzheng, the vice-sect leader of the Thousand Hands sect, raised the price again after Duanling Tian had placed his bid. This time his bid was even higher than Duanling Tian's. Before the crowd could react, Duanling Tian's voice rang again. Duanling Tian said, 350,000 prominent celestial crystals. He added another 40,000 prominent celestial crystals as soon as he opened his mouth. Guzheng frowned upon hearing this. He did not expect someone from the supporting Fall Nation's private room would bid for the nameless branch in such a manner. This time, Guzheng stopped bidding after Duanling Tian made his bid. To him, the reason why he participated in the auction was because he was curious about the nameless tree branch and wanted to collect it for himself. 310,000 prominent celestial crystals was the limit of what he could afford. I don't think the bidder from the supporting Fall Nation's private room is Huang Yuanfei, the city governor of Passage City in the supporting Fall Nation, right? Based on the voice, it seems to be a young man. As far as I know, there are only 2 young people from the supporting Fall Nation who came this time. One of them is Huang Yuanfei's son, Huang Jialong. The other one is Duanling Tian, a genius sectless cultivator who recently appeared in the supporting Fall Nation's Southern Heaven combat. This voice must belong to Duanling Tian. At this moment, many people guessed that the bidder was Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian? Could it be that he knows the divine tree of life? In the private room where the people from the East Ming nation were seated, a gray-clad young man with a cold expression on his face had a subtle glint in his eyes. The gray-clad young man was none other than Ling Jueyun, the genius sectless cultivator who rose to fame during the Southern Heaven combat in the East Ming nation. As soon as the old man on the stage opened the jade box, Ling Jueyun recognized it as one of the main branches of the divine tree of life. The main branch of the divine tree of life was a precious treasure to ordinary people. Ordinary people would be able to comprehend the law of life if they obtained the main branch of the divine tree of life. However, it was useless to Duan Lingtian. This was because the law of life and his clan's law of life restrained each other. Moreover, his bloodline prevented him from comprehending the law of life for the rest of his life. 350,000 prominent celestial crystals going once. 350,000 prominent celestial crystals going twice. After Duan Lingtian made his bid, no one else made a bid. At this moment, the old man on the stage began to count down. I wonder if Duan Lingtian really recognized the main branch of the divine tree of life or if he's just trying to keep it. If it's the former, then this Duan Lingtian is not a simple person. After all, even in the small Southern Heaven territory, including the Southern Heaven Celestial Lord, I don't think anyone can recognize the main branch of the divine tree of life. If it's the latter, then this Duan Lingtian can only be considered lucky. Ling Jueyun thought to himself as he stood by the window of the private room when he saw the main branch of the divine tree of life was about to be obtained by Duan Lingtian. He had no intention of telling the people from the East Ming nation that the main branch of the divine tree of life was the culprit. This was because he knew the people from the East Ming nation would not understand or believe him even if he told them about it. Moreover, there was a risk of exposing his identity. For this reason, he did not say anything to the people from the East Ming nation. 350,000 prominent celestial crystals going thrice. At this moment, the old man on the stage announced the winner of the divine tree of life. With this, Duan Lingtian successfully obtained the divine tree of life. Brother Duan, you don't have enough celestial crystals, right? Huang Jialong asked as he looked at Duan Lingtian in the private room. I have about 25 million mediocre celestial crystals, which is equivalent to 250,000 prominent celestial crystals. As for the remaining 100,000 prominent celestial crystals, I'll just take out a king-grade celestial weapon. Duan Lingtian smiled. Although he did not have enough celestial crystals, he would have enough if he took out a king-grade celestial weapon. Little Tian, there's no need to pawn a king-grade celestial weapon. Huang Yuanfei stopped Duan Lingtian and said, I'll lend you 100,000 prominent celestial crystals first. You can return the remaining prominent celestial crystals to me after you sell the profound golden pills. In that case, thank you, Uncle Huang. Duan Lingtian naturally knew Huang Yuanfei was doing this for his own good. If he pawned a king-grade celestial weapon, he would definitely suffer a loss. Huang Yuanfei clearly did not want him to suffer a loss. Therefore he did not refuse. Moreover, he was confident he could refine 2 profound golden pills with the 2 golden nematodes. As long as he sold 1 profound golden pill, it would not be difficult for him to earn 100,000 prominent celestial crystals. When Huang Jialong saw Duan Lingtian giving away the spatial ring that contained enough celestial crystals and putting the divine tree of life away, he could not help but exclaim, Duan Lingtian, you're really lucky. I really have to hand it to you, brother Duan. Chapter 2977. Duan Lingtian did not have many prominent celestial crystals in his possession. In fact, he had almost used up all his prominent celestial crystals when he was buying origin stones in West Lane City of the Solitary Nation. Naturally, he did not have many prominent celestial crystals, but he had a lot of mediocre celestial crystals. He had killed a 9 palaces celestial duke and a 1 basic celestial king from the blissful sect and a 10 directions celestial duke from the profound heaven celestial sect in the borderlands. The wealth that the 3 of them had brought to him was shocking in the borderlands. The 3 of them had given him more than 20 million mediocre celestial crystals. As such, the number of intermediate immortal crystals he had in his possession was shocking. He had more than 25 million intermediate immortal crystals, 100,000 prominent celestial crystals and 25 million mediocre celestial crystals. Is this sectless genius from the supporting Fall Nation taking advantage of this opportunity to take out all his mediocre celestial crystals? The gray-clad old man on the auction stage was shocked when he saw the number of mediocre celestial crystals in Duan Lingtian's spatial ring. In his opinion, Duan Lingtian was a genius. Not many people in the Southern Heaven territory possessed more than 20 million mediocre celestial crystals, let alone the solitary nation. After all, mediocre celestial crystals were of a low grade. Naturally, this was the gray-clad old man's opinion. At this moment, the gray-clad old man did not know that there was another area at the edge of the Southern Heaven territory outside the formation barrier. It was called the borderlands. There were only primitive celestial crystal veins in the borderlands. The most they could produce was mediocre celestial crystals. Although there were some prominent celestial crystals in the borderlands, most of them came from the central area. For this reason, although Duan Lingtian had plundered some wealth in the borderlands, there were only a few thousand prominent celestial crystals. Most of them were mediocre celestial crystals. Naturally, there were also many primitive celestial crystals. Brother Duan, I really have to hand it to you. Where did you get the 25 million mid-grade immortal crystals? While Huang Jialong looked at Duan Lingtian in shock, Huang Yuanfei and Elder Emo also looked at Duan Lingtian curiously. I obtained these mediocre celestial crystals when I was in the borderlands. It's rare to see prominent celestial crystals in the borderlands. Duan Lingtian said. The imperial auction held by the Solitary Nation's imperial family came to an end after Duan Lingtian obtained the main branch from the Divine Tree of Life. Of course, outsiders did not know that it was the main branch of the Divine Tree of Life. Even if someone said that it was the main branch of the Divine Tree of Life, they didn't know what it was, let alone its true value. Not many people in the spirit overarching heaven knew about the Divine Tree of Life, let alone the Southern Heaven territory. After the auction ended, Duan Lingtian brought Lu Guanglin, Huang Jialong, Huang Yuanfei, and Elder Emo back to the Solitary Nation's imperial palace. Along the way, He Feng, the commander of the Solitary Nation's imperial guards, caught up with them. As soon as he caught up with them, he immediately asked Huang Yuanfei. City Governor Huang, how did you do it? The people from the Moran Nation and the East Ming Nation aren't ordinary people. It's unbelievable that they gave up on bidding for the golden nematodes. A hint of curiosity could be seen in He Feng's eyes as soon as he finished speaking. Commander He, are you the one who's curious? Or is that person the one who's curious? Huang Yuanfei asked as he looked at He Feng. Huang Yuanfei emphasized the words that person. His Majesty is indeed curious. That's why he sent me a message. However, I'm curious as well. After all, the people from the Moran Nation and the East Ming Nation came for the 2 golden nematodes, but they gave up on bidding at the crucial moment. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that you must have done something, City Governor Huang, He Feng said. Huang Yuanfei nodded. It's nothing. In response to He Feng's question, Huang Yuanfei said indifferently, I told them that as long as I obtain the 2 golden nematodes, I'll be able to hire a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine 2 profound golden pills. I'll keep 1 profound golden pill for myself. As for the other profound golden pill, I'll let them bid for it. For this reason, they gave up on bidding for the 2 golden nematodes. It was clear Huang Yuanfei did not intend to hide this matter. Naturally, he knew he would not be able to hide it even if he wanted to. 10 days later, one of the people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation would not be able to obtain the profound golden pill. Under such circumstances, they would not continue to hide this matter. A king-grade celestial alchemist? He Feng's heart skipped a beat when he heard Huang Yuanfei's words. He did not expect to receive such an answer. Although the emperors of the Solitary Nation could hire a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill, they would have to pay a high price. The emperors of the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation wanted to obtain the 2 golden nematodes because they did not want to pay a high price to hire a king-grade celestial alchemist. They only wanted supreme celestial alchemists who were confident in refining the profound golden pill. For this reason, the higher the number of golden nematodes, the higher the success rate. The emperor of the supporting Fall Nation is really bold. He Feng exclaimed as he looked at Duan Lingtian. He Feng thought the emperor of the supporting Fall Nation was willing to pay a high price to hire a king-grade celestial alchemist to help Duan Lingtian become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial before the Southern Heaven ancient realm opened. The emperor of the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation could not compare to him. However, it did not cross He Feng's mind that the person who wanted the 2 golden nematodes to refine the profound golden pill was not a king-grade celestial alchemist, but Duan Lingtian himself. After He Feng and Duan Lingtian returned to the Solitary Nation's imperial palace, they bade farewell to each other and left. After that, Duan Lingtian and the others returned to the palace that the imperial palace of the Solitary Nation had arranged for them. Little Tian, if there's anything you need to refine the profound golden pill, just let me know. I'll do my best to help you. Huang Yuanfei said to Duan Lingtian after they returned to the imperial palace. Although he was confident in Duan Lingtian, he still felt pressured when he thought about how he would offend the celestial kings of the East Ming nation and the Moran nation if he could not produce the profound golden pill in 10 days. Don't worry, Uncle Huang. I won't let you down. After informing Huang Yuanfei, Duan Lingtian returned to his room and began to refine the profound golden pill. He was the only one who knew he was not an ordinary prominent celestial alchemist. Ordinary prominent celestial alchemists relied on prominent celestial fires to refine pills, but Duan Lingtian relied on his chaos divine flame to refine pills. Although the third form of the chaos divine flame was comparable to a prominent celestial fire, it was not something a prominent celestial fire could compare to. In fact, in many aspects, even a high-grade celestial fire could not compare to a prominent celestial fire. Little boy, didn't you say you'll help this brat as long as he obtains the main branch from the divine tree of life? The profound divine metal's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's body. Based on its words, it was clear it was talking to the chaos divine earth. Although it won't be difficult for him to refine the profound golden pill with Old Hua's help and his innate talent in alchemy, he still can't guarantee a 100% success rate. If you make a move, I'm sure you can guarantee a 100% success rate. Duan Lingtian nodded. When Duan Lingtian heard the profound divine metal's words, he had already guessed the chaos divine earth would be able to help him refine the profound golden pill. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he heard the profound divine metal's words. As long as the chaos divine earth helped him, it would be able to refine the profound golden pill? Although the chaos divine earth was confident it would be able to refine the profound golden pill, it was only 80 to 90% confident it would be able to refine the profound golden pill. However, after listening to the profound divine metal's words, it was clear the chaos divine earth would be able to refine the profound golden pill. When Duan Lingtian thought about the pressure Huang Yuanfei would have to endure, he took a deep breath and prepared to ask the chaos divine earth for help. There's no need for you to remind me. Before Duan Lingtian could speak, the chaos divine earth's voice rang in the air. Of course I remember what I said. After snorting at the profound divine metal, the chaos divine earth turned to Duan Lingtian and said, "Brat, take out your pill cauldron." Upon hearing the chaos divine earth's words, Duan Lingtian took out his pill cauldron even though he did not know what the chaos divine earth wanted. As soon as the prominent celestial pill cauldron was taken out, Duan Lingtian could feel the chaos divine earth in his right arm glowing with a yellow light. A moment later, a khaki-colored energy shot out from his hand and entered the upper-grade celestial artifact pill cauldron. Swoosh! The pill cauldron shook, and Duan Lingtian saw a layer of yellow light on the surface of the pill cauldron. The chaos divine earth can be fused with a celestial alchemist's pill cauldron to increase the success rate of refining pills. With the chaos divine earth and my help, you'll be able to successfully refine the profound golden pill. The chaos divine flame's voice rang in the air. Let's begin. The chaos divine flame reminded Duan Lingtian when it realized he was still in a daze. Upon hearing the chaos divine flame's words, Duan Lingtian began to refine the profound golden pill. The profound golden pill was one of the most difficult prominent celestial pills to refine. The steps to refine it were extremely complicated. However, Duan Lingtian was able to refine it with ease. After all, Duan Lingtian's alchemy skills had surpassed most Duke-grade celestial alchemists and was almost on par with King-grade celestial alchemists. While Duan Lingtian was refining the profound golden pill, the people from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation learned about the profound golden pill from their leader. The reason they did not bid for the 2 golden nematodes during the imperial family's auction was because the supporting Fall nation invited a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill. The emperor of the supporting Fall nation is really bold. I don't think the emperor of the supporting Fall nation is that bold. I suspect the king-grade celestial alchemist from the Flying Tiger clan is willing to help Duan Lingtian. Chapter 2978. The Flying Tiger Clan? To be more precise, it's the Flying Tiger Clan's branch in the profound Nether Mansion's territory. Now that you mention it, I remember that the vice-clan leader of the Flying Tiger Clan came to the capital of the Solitary Nation 2 days ago for a royal-grade celestial weapon. I'm afraid you're unaware that Duan Lingtian obtained the royal-grade celestial weapon from a sword-shaped origin stone. He gave the royal-grade celestial weapon to Bai Gang, a copper flying tiger from the Flying Tiger Clan's branch. Bai Gang is one of the people who accompanied the leader of the group from the supporting Fall Nation. It makes sense now that Duan Lingtian obtained a royal-grade celestial weapon for the Flying Tiger clan's branch. It's enough for them to send a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill for him. Although the people from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation were in their respective palaces, their speculations were the same. The leader of the group from the supporting Fall nation promised me that he'll offer a profound golden pill to us and the Moran nation in 10 days. The old man said to the people from the East Ming nation. The profound golden pill. Ling Jueyun's expression changed slightly when he heard the old man's words. Previously, he had only wanted 2 golden nematodes to refine the profound golden pill. However, since no king-grade celestial alchemist was willing to refine the profound golden pill, Ling Jueyun was only slightly hopeful that the 2 golden nematodes would be able to refine the profound golden pill. But now, with the refined profound golden pill, the little bit of expectation in his heart disappeared and was replaced by a strong sense of anticipation. Elder Hu, I'm determined to obtain the profound golden pill. Ling Jueyun said to the old man through voice transmission. I roughly know the upper limit of the celestial crystals that His Majesty has set for the 2 golden nematodes. If you can help me obtain the profound golden pill, not only will I return your personal celestial crystals, but I'll also owe you a favor. Ling Jueyun's words revealed his determination to obtain the profound golden pill. Little brother Ling, with your words, I will definitely do my best. The old man replied with a voice transmission. His eyes were filled with determination. He had high hopes for Ling Jueyun. In fact, during their journey from the East Ming Kingdom to the Solitary Kingdom, he vaguely felt that Ling Jueyun was not a rogue cultivator, but someone from a big family. Although his words and actions were filled with indifference, there was also an air of nobility that made him feel ashamed many times. Therefore he believed that as long as he helped Ling Jueyun, he would definitely be rewarded in the future. It was only a matter of time. No wonder Elder Hu gave up on bidding for the 2 golden nematodes. It turns out that the people from the supporting Fall nation made such a promise. Hearing the old man's words, the second prince of the East Ming Kingdom and the other people of the East Ming Kingdom were enlightened. It turned out that the person from the supporting Fall nation had promised to offer a profound golden pill to the East Ming nation and the Moran nation. Meanwhile, the group of people from the Moran nation also learned from the middle-aged man that the person from the supporting Fall nation was going to offer a profound golden pill to them and the people from the East Ming nation. A profound golden pill, a profound golden pill. The 7th prince of the Moran nation looked at the middle-aged man eagerly and said in a deep voice, Uncle Ian, I know Father gave you an upper limit on the number of celestial crystals to bid for the 2 golden nematodes. However, our goal is not the golden nematodes but the profound golden pill. Therefore I hope you can ignore the upper limit. If it's necessary, Uncle Ian, you can pay me some celestial crystals first. I'll ask Father to return the celestial crystals to you when we return to the nation. The 7th prince of the Moran nation was extremely excited when he learned he had a chance to obtain the profound golden pill. As long as he obtained the profound golden pill, he would be able to break through and become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial. At that time, he was confident he would become the strongest person below celestial dukes in the Moran nation. Although he was not as talented as Duan Lingtian from the supporting Fall nation and Ling Jueyun from the East Ming nation, it was still enough for him to perform better in the Southern Heaven Ancient Realm. Don't worry, Your Highness. I know what to do. The middle-aged man replied indifferently. In the palace of the Solitary Nation, there was a palace in the middle of the palace. The Emperor of the Solitary Nation had just finished listening to He Feng's words. The Emperor of the supporting Fall nation wants a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill for Duan Lingtian? As soon as He Feng finished speaking, the Emperor of the Solitary Nation shook his head and said, That's impossible. I know the Emperor of the supporting Fall nation very well. He's not that bold. The Emperor of the Solitary Nation said confidently. As the Emperor of the Solitary Nation, which was adjacent to the supporting Fall nation, he knew the Emperor of the supporting Fall nation very well. The price of hiring a king-grade celestial alchemist was too high. The Emperor of the supporting Fall nation was the kind of person who would not act unless he was certain Duan Lingtian would bring him great benefits. Otherwise, he would not pay such a high price to hire a king-grade celestial alchemist. If the Emperor of the supporting Fall nation didn't hire a king-grade celestial alchemist, could it be Huang Yuanfei? He doesn't have the ability to do that, right? He Feng frowned slightly. He doesn't have the ability to do that. The Emperor of the Solitary Nation said indifferently, however, don't forget about the people around him. For example, Bai Gang. Bai Gang? Upon hearing the Emperor of the Solitary Nation's words, He Feng's eyes widened as a thought appeared in his mind. Your Highness, are you saying that Duan Ling Tian obtained a royal-grade celestial weapon from the sword-shaped origin stone and asked the Flying Tiger clan to send a king-grade celestial alchemist to refine the profound golden pill for him? Apart from that, I can't think of any other possibilities, the Emperor of the Solitary Nation said. After listening to the Emperor of the Solitary Nation's words, He Feng was certain this was the truth. 10 days passed in just a blink of an eye for people in the Devata realms. 10 days later, Duan Ling Tian, who was sitting cross-legged on his bed, suddenly opened his eyes as a bright smile appeared on his face. I've finally become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian's aura had changed slightly. With just a thought, the celestial origin energy that appeared on his body was no longer the same as before. This was because Duan Ling Tian had officially become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial. The profound golden pill's efficacy is really strong. With a wave of his hand, a pill bottle appeared in Duan Ling Tian's hand. It contained one of the 2 profound golden pills he had refined a few days ago. As for the other profound golden pill, he had consumed it a few days ago. He had only regained consciousness after he had completely digested its efficacy and become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial. I'm sure Uncle Huang has been waiting for a long time. When Duan Ling Tian walked out of his room, he immediately looked up and saw it was almost noon. It seemed like the people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation had arrived. Brother Duan, you're finally out. Before Duan Ling Tian could look away, a relieved voice rang in his ears. He could tell it was Huang Jialong's voice. Jialong, Duan Ling Tian finally saw Huang Jialong standing next to Lu Guanglin in the courtyard. Brother Duan, did you succeed? Huang Jialong asked as he looked at Duan Ling Tian with a solemn expression on his face. Right now, his father and Elder Mo were entertaining the people from the East Ming Kingdom and Moran Kingdom in the main hall of the temporary residence they were currently residing in. The people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation had come for the profound golden pill. Duan Ling Tian was worried because he did not know if the profound golden pill had been successfully refined. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Duan Ling Tian raised his hand and shook the pill bottle. Then he tossed the pill bottle to Huang Jialong as though it was a piece of trash. Is this the profound golden pill? Huang Jialong took the pill bottle with a solemn expression on his face. He opened the bottle and saw the pill lying inside. The fragrance of the pill assailed his nostrils. Coupled with the unique glow on the pill, Huang Jialong could tell it was the profound golden pill. Huang Jialong's eyes lit up when he confirmed the pill bottle was the profound golden pill. He knew Duan Ling Tian had succeeded. Brother Duan, did you only manage to refine 1 profound golden pill, or did you refine 2? Huang Jialong asked. He heaved a sigh of relief when he confirmed the pill bottle contained the profound golden pill. What do you think? Duan Ling Tian deliberately revealed the aura of his soul to Huang Jialong. Huang Jialong was aware of Duan Ling Tian's strength. A peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial. Huang Jialong's eyes lit up as a bright smile appeared on his face. Congratulations, Brother Duan. I didn't expect you to be able to refine 2 profound golden pills. Huang Jialong sighed. To think that I didn't have high hopes for you. I even thought Father was blind to trust you so much. It seems like I'm not as good as Father after all. As Huang Jialong lamented, a hint of guilt appeared on his face. Congratulations, my lord. At this moment, Lu Guanglin also congratulated Duan Ling Tian. A hint of admiration could be seen in the depth of his eyes. Although he had confidence in his master, when he learned that his master had really refined 2 profound gold pills, he couldn't help but feel inexplicably shocked. The people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation should be here by now, right? Duan Ling Tian asked. They're in the main hall. Father and old Mo are entertaining them. Since you've come out of your closed-door cultivation, let's go together. I'd like to see how many celestial crystals the people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation are willing to pay for the profound golden pill. Huang Jialong was anxious when he first arrived. However, when he returned he no longer felt anxious. Instead, he was filled with anticipation. Chapter 2979. It was quite a distance away from Duan Ling Tian's residence to the main hall of the imperial residence. Along the way, Huang Jialong said guiltily, Brother Duan, I didn't believe you'd be able to refine the profound golden pill. You won't blame me, right? Clearly he was very concerned about this matter. After all, to a certain extent, this was because he did not trust Duan Ling Tian. Why would I blame you? Duan Ling Tian shook his head and smiled. If I were you, I wouldn't believe I'd be able to refine the profound golden pill. After all, the profound golden pill is not an ordinary prominent celestial pill. However, I'm only a prominent celestial alchemist. After refining the profound golden pill, Duan Lingtian finally realized how difficult it was to refine the profound golden pill. It was no wonder it was rumored that not even 1 in 10,000 prominent celestial alchemists would be able to refine the profound golden pill. In fact, not even 1 in 100 supreme celestial alchemists would be able to refine the profound golden pill. If I didn't have the help of the Chaos Divine Flame and the Chaos Divine Earth, I wouldn't even have a 10% chance of successfully refining the profound golden pill with my current level of mastery in the alchemy Tao. Before refining the profound golden pill, Duan Lingtian had no idea how difficult it was to refine the profound golden pill. However, he now had a deeper understanding of the difficulty of refining the profound golden pill. If it were not for the help of the Chaos Divine Flame and the Chaos Divine Earth, he would not have been able to refine the profound golden pill. However, I didn't expect the Chaos Divine Earth to possess a cauldron and increase my success rate. Moreover, it seems like it can possess a defensive celestial artifact to increase its defensive ability. Previously, Duan Lingtian had thought the Chaos Divine Earth would be able to help him. However, he was still pleasantly surprised when he learned about the Chaos Divine Earth's ability. In the main hall, Huang Yuanfei and Old Mo were entertaining the people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation. There were 3 people from the East Ming Nation. Only 2 people from the Moran Nation had come. Brother Duan, the old man in the lead, is a one basic celestial king from the East Ming Nation. His name is Hu Qin, Duan Lingtian said. As for the 2 young men beside him, the silver-robed young man is the second prince of the East Ming Nation, while the gray-robed young man is the genius rogue cultivator Ling Jueyun, who made a name for himself during the Southern Heaven combat in the East Ming Nation. Before entering the main hall, Huang Jialong had already introduced the people from the East Ming Kingdom and the Moran Kingdom to Duan Lingtian. There are 2 people from the Moran Nation. One of them is a one basic celestial king of the Moran Nation. His name is Lian Jingxing, the other person is the 7th prince of the Moran Kingdom. By the time Huang Jialong finished his introduction to Duan Lingtian, they had already crossed the threshold and entered the main hall. Father. Huang Jialong entered the hall and directly walked in front of Huang Yuanfei and handed over the pill bottle. Huang Yuanfei's eyes brightened when he saw Huang Jialong's action. At the same time he sighed in relief. Although he was confident in Duan Lingtian, he still felt pressured when facing the celestial kings from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation. Uncle Huang. At this moment, Duan Lingtian followed Huang Jialong to Huang Yuanfei's side. Little Tian, thank you for your hard work. Huang Yuanfei nodded and smiled at Duan Lingtian through voice transmission. At this moment he had already learned from his son that Duan Lingtian had successfully refined 2 profound golden pills. Moreover, he had already consumed one of them and successfully became a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial. Little Tian, allow me to introduce you. After Duan Lingtian arrived, Huang Yuanfei introduced the 5 people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation to Duan Lingtian. At the same time he also introduced Duan Lingtian to the 5 people from the East Ming Nation and the Moran Nation. So, this is the genius sectless cultivator from the supporting Fall Nation who participated in the Southern Heaven combat. You're indeed young and capable. Lian Jingxing, the celestial king from the Moran Nation, glanced at Duan Lingtian before he turned to look at Ling Jueyun from the East Ming Nation. I wonder who's stronger between little brother Duan and little brother Ling? Lian Jingxing was clearly trying to drive a wedge between the 2 of them. Alas, his attempt to drive a wedge between them was futile. Duan Lingtian and Ling Jueyun looked at each other and smiled at each other. It was as though they had just met for the first time. There was no hint of hostility in their eyes at all. Huang Jialong was slightly surprised when he saw this. It seemed like Duan Lingtian was acquainted with the genius sectless cultivator from the East Ming Nation. However, what he did not know was that Duan Lingtian and Ling Jueyun did not know each other at all. They had only met once yesterday morning and there was nothing else between them. In fact, they did not even speak to each other at all. They know each other? Lian Jingxing's expression was slightly unsightly. He did not expect his attempt to drive a wedge between the 2 of them would end in this manner. City Governor Huang, you asked your son to retrieve the profound golden pill earlier. Now that he's back, he's passed this pill bottle to you. Is the profound golden pill in this bottle? Hu Qin, the celestial king from the East Ming Nation, asked solemnly as he looked at the pill bottle in Huang Yuanfei's hand. That's right. Huang Yuanfei nodded as he poured the pill out of the bottle. It was a pill that emitted a faint fragrance and was shrouded in a unique light. The profound golden pill. As soon as the pill appeared, the people from the East Ming nation and the Moran nation confirmed it. It was indeed a profound golden pill. Since the profound golden pill is here, let's not waste any more time. City Governor Huang, please state the starting price. Lian Jingxing urged as he looked at Huang Yuanfei. At this moment, Hu Qing also looked at Huang Yuanfei. There's no need for a starting price. Both of you please state the price. Huang Yuanfei said with a smile. He was not worried that either of them would back out at the last minute since the profound golden pill was extremely important to both of them. In that case, I'll throw a brick to attract jade. 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. As soon as Huang Yuanfei finished speaking, Lian Jingxing immediately made a bid. He offered 200,000 high-grade celestial crystals. This price was equivalent to the price of 2 ordinary king-grade celestial weapons. Moreover, this was the highest price the Emperor of the Moran nation could bid for the 2 golden nematodes. The Emperor of the Moran nation did not think it was worth it to bid any higher. 300,000 prominent celestial crystals. As soon as Lian Jingxing finished speaking, Hu Qing immediately made a bid and added 100,000 prominent celestial crystals. It was as though the prominent celestial crystals were just a pile of rocks in his eyes. Elder Hu, you're really bold. Lian Jingxing's expression darkened when he heard Hu Qing's bid. He gritted his teeth and continued to bid. 310,000 prominent celestial crystals. 400,000 prominent celestial crystals. Hu Qing's expression remained unchanged as he said indifferently. Lian Jingxing's expression changed immediately. The 7th prince of the Moran nation's expression changed as well. They did not expect Hu Qing from the East Ming nation would bid 400,000 prominent celestial crystals for the profound golden pill without batting an eyelid. After all, the profound golden pill had appeared in the profound Nether Mansion's Thousand Nations territory before. However, the price of the profound golden pill on the black market was, at most, 200,000 prominent celestial crystals. It was rare for the price to exceed 300,000 prominent celestial crystals. After a few breaths, Lian Jingxing remained silent. Huang Yuanfei looked at Lian Jingxing and asked, Mr. Lian, are you going to continue bidding? Uncle Lian. The 7th prince of the Moran nation cried out anxiously as he looked at Lian Jingxing. 500,000 prominent celestial crystals. Lian Jingxing took a deep breath and stared at Hu Qing intently before he said in a deep voice, Elder Hu, if you continue bidding, I'll give up on the profound golden pill. However, is it really worth it to spend 500,000 prominent celestial crystals to buy a profound golden pill for an outsider? Lian Jingxing asked with a hint in his voice. He had bought the profound golden pill for the 7th prince of the Moran nation. The 7th prince of the Moran nation was a direct descendant of the Moran nation's imperial family. However, Hu Qing was bidding for the profound golden pill for an outsider. For this reason, Lian Jingxing asked Hu Qing. I know whether it's worth it or not. However, I still have to thank Brother Lian for giving up the profound golden pill, Hu Qing said indifferently. 510,000 prominent celestial crystals. Hu Qing said calmly. Then he bid again. Humph. Lian Jingxing's expression darkened when he heard Hu Qing's bid. He scoffed before he left with the 7th prince of the Moran nation. The 7th prince of the Moran nation's expression was unsightly when he left. However, he knew he would not be able to obtain the profound golden pill today. 500,000 prominent celestial crystals was the limit he could afford. He did not think it was worth it to spend more than that. Congratulations, Elder Hu. Huang Yuanfei raised his hand and returned the profound golden pill to Hu Qing when he saw the 7th prince of the Moran nation and the 7th prince of the Moran nation leaving. Hu Qing also took out 510,000 prominent celestial crystals and handed them to Huang Yuanfei. Farewell, City Lord Huang. After the transaction was completed, Hu Qing bade farewell to Huang Yuanfei before he left with Ling Jueyun and the 2nd prince of the East Ming nation. For a time, only Duan Ling Tian and the others were left in the spacious hall. Little Tian, you can keep this Sumeru ring. Huang Yuanfei removed the ownership of the spatial ring Hu Qing had given him and passed it to Duan Ling Tian. I've counted the spatial ring. There's a total of 510,000 prominent celestial crystals inside. Not a single one more or less. Uncle Huang, what are you doing? Duan Ling Tian did not reach out to take the spatial ring. Although I'm the one who refined the profound golden pill, you're the one who bought the golden nematode for me. The other profound spirit flower that I used was also given to me by you, Uncle Huang. Of these 510,000 high-grade immortal crystals, I'll take 200,000 at most. Duan Lingtian's voice was filled with determination when he spoke. He had his principles and he knew how to repay kindness. However, Huang Yuanfei was equally determined. Little Tian, you're going overboard. If it weren't for you, who can guarantee that the materials wouldn't be wasted? How about this? I'll take 10,000 prominent celestial crystals, and you can keep the remaining 500,000. Chapter 2980. In the end, Duan Lingtian gave in to Huang Yuanfei's demands and accepted the 500,000 prominent celestial crystals. According to Huang Yuanfei's words, His Majesty gave me 30,000 prominent celestial crystals to bid for the 2 golden nematodes. His Majesty is willing to pay so much for you because he wants you to become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial so that you'll stand out in the southern heaven ancient realm and be valued by the 3 sects and 2 clans. His Majesty will then be rewarded generously by the 3 sects and 2 clans. Therefore you don't have to feel guilty. Just treat the 10,000 prominent celestial crystals as compensation for selling the profound spirit flower to you. You don't have to feel guilty and you don't have to feel like you owe me a favor. These were Huang Yuanfei's exact words. However, despite Huang Yuanfei's words, Duan Lingtian was certain he owed Huang Yuanfei a favor. Duan Lingtian knew very well that Huang Yuanfei's words were not cheap. Let alone 500,000 prominent celestial crystals. Even if it was only 100,000 or 200,000 prominent celestial crystals, it was still a huge sum to Huang Yuanfei. Now that we've settled our business in the solitary nation, it's time for us to return. Huang Yuanfei looked at Duan Lingtian and said with a smile, Little Tian, go back and get ready. We'll return to the supporting Fall Nation tomorrow morning. Yes, Uncle Huang. Duan Lingtian nodded. Early the next morning, Duan Lingtian brought Lu Guanglin along with him to meet up with Huang Yuanfei, Huang Jialong and Old Mo. When they arrived, the group stood on Elder Mo's main body and was led by Elder Mo on the way. When they returned it was the same. However, when they returned there was one person missing. It was none other than Bai Gang, who had left the solitary nation a few days ago. Bai Gang did not return to the supporting Fall Nation. Instead he returned to the Flying Tiger clan with Bai Zhenyu, the vice-patriarch of the Flying Tiger clan. During their journey, Duan Lingtian cultivated and comprehended the law of Earth's gravitational space profundity with the King-grade celestial method, the Black Rock Prison method. Now that he had become a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial, his cultivation base had improved as well. One more step and they would become celestial monarchs. With the help of the chaos divine Earth, he had quickly comprehended the law of Earth's fundamental profundity, the Earth elemental profundity. The gravitational space profundity was one of the profundities of the law of Earth. With the help of the chaos divine Earth, Duan Lingtian was gaining new insights every second. Whether it's Earth, the mundane realms or the Devata realms where I'm currently in, there's a gravitational force. Earth's gravity, under the circumstances of not using any power, one's body will fall towards the Earth's core. It's a gravitational force that belongs to the direction of gravity. As for the gravitational space profundity of the Earth laws, it does not only allow one to comprehend a downward gravitational force. Instead, it allows one to comprehend a gravitational force in any direction. For example, when the gravitational space power Upanishad shrouded something, it could use the gravitational force to move it everywhere. And not just in one direction. With the help of the chaos divine Earth, Duan Lingtian comprehended the law of Earth's gravitational space profundity through the Earth elemental profundity and the Black Rock Prison celestial method. During this time he gained a deeper understanding of the gravitational space profundity. He knew the gravitational space profundity was one of the most powerful profundities in the law of Earth. Once I comprehend the gravitational space profundity, I'll be able to master the Black Rock Prison celestial method. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Naturally, Duan Lingtian knew he only needed to comprehend the gravitational space profundity to the initial stage to master the Black Rock Prison celestial method. This celestial method would only allow him to comprehend the gravitational space profundity to the rudimentary stage. If he wanted to improve his gravitational space profundity, he would have to obtain a royal grade celestial method or divine ability that contained the gravitational space profundity. A royal grade celestial method or divine ability that contained the gravitational space profundity would allow him to comprehend the gravitational space profundity to the initial stage. If he wanted to comprehend the gravitational space profundity to the mastery stage, he would have to obtain an emperor grade celestial method or divine ability that contained the gravitational space profundity. About 10 days later, Duan Lingtian and the others returned to the capital of the supporting Fall Nation. After greeting Huang Jialong, Huang Yuanfei and Old Mo, Duan Lingtian and Lu Guanglin returned to their residence in the Origin Gathering Hall. As soon as they entered their room and closed the door, the profound divine metal's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's mind. Boy, take out the main branch from the divine tree of life that you obtained from the solitary nation. Chem? Although Duan Lingtian did not know why the profound divine metal had asked him to do so, he still took out the main branch from the divine tree of life. After so many days, the main branch from the divine tree of life was still as green as ever. Now drip a drop of blood on it, the profound divine metal said. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to prick his finger, the chaos divine flame's voice rang in his mind. Although he has 99 heavenly veins and his innate talent is enough to gain the divine tree of life's approval, he's not a celestial duke and hasn't established his own little world. I'm afraid he's not strong enough to gain the approval of the divine tree of life, right? Upon hearing the chaos divine flame's words, Duan Lingtian realized the profound divine metal had asked him to do so to gain the approval of the divine tree of life. Now that he's a peak overarching heavenly supreme celestial, it'll be beneficial to him if he gains the approval of the divine tree of life. Moreover, he'll be able to sense the powerful life energy in the divine tree of life and increase his chances of comprehending the law of life. The profound divine metal said, I know he's not a celestial duke and hasn't established his own little world, so he's not strong enough to gain the approval of the divine tree of life. However, that's if he doesn't have our help. If we work together, we'll be able to deceive everyone and gain the approval of the divine tree of life. Although it'll consume a lot of our energy, it'll be worth it. Letting the divine tree of life recognize him as its master in advance can also help him refine and absorb the spirit energy of heaven and earth to the greatest extent, increasing his cultivation speed. Although the divine crystal in his hand can also help him absorb the spirit energy of heaven and earth to the greatest extent, it can't be refined. You should know the difference between the purified heaven and earth spirit energy and the unpurified heaven and earth spirit energy on his cultivation speed. After listening to the profound divine metal's words, the chaos divine flame fell silent for a moment before it said, You're right. We all hope he'll grow stronger as soon as possible. If that's the case, we'll work together to gain the approval of the divine tree of life. The chaos divine earth won't have to do anything. After all, we still have to help him comprehend the law of earth, the chaos divine flame said. That's right. That's why I don't want the chaos divine earth to do anything. The profound divine metal reminded Duan Lingtian, Boy, don't waste time. Hurry up and drip your blood on the main branch of the divine tree of life. Although Duan Lingtian only understood half of the profound divine metal and the chaos divine flame's conversation, he could tell they were doing it for his own good. For this reason, he did not hesitate to prick his finger and drip a drop of blood on the main branch of the divine tree of life. Drip. As soon as Duan Lingtian's blood landed on the main branch of the divine tree of life, green halos appeared on the main branch of the divine tree of life. The halos blocked Duan Lingtian's blood, making it difficult for Duan Lingtian's blood to enter the main branch of the divine tree of life. At this moment, swoosh, swoosh. The two energies that were not unfamiliar to Duan Lingtian intertwined with each other and whistled out of his body. The gold and gray energies merged with each other and merged with Duan Lingtian's blood. The vast energy seemed to be compressed and condensed at this moment. After all, the volume of a drop of blood was only so big. When the golden and gray energies merged with Duan Lingtian's drop of blood, the drop of blood seemed to have become extremely heavy. Drip. Another soft sound rang out. That drop of blood directly broke through the layer of jade-green halo. The whole process was like a drop of water penetrating a stone. Drip, drip, drip. There was a soft sound, which meant that a layer of green light had been pierced through. After a few times, the rings of green light around the tree of life were all pierced through. Drip. In the end, Duan Lingtian's blood fell on the sacred tree of life as he wished. To be precise, it fell on the main branch of the sacred tree of life. This was not the complete divine tree of life. It was only one of the main branches of the Lord of Life. The blood fell and fused with the main branch of the tree of life. In an instant it was like water and milk, completely fusing into one. At that moment, Duan Lingtian clearly sensed a mysterious connection between him and the main branch of the sacred tree of life. Through this connection, he could clearly sense the powerful life force contained within the main branch of the divine tree of life. This powerful life force gave him a majestic and boundless feeling. He had never felt such a powerful life force from anyone or anything. Whoosh. While Duan Lingtian was still feeling the powerful life force of the main branch of the divine tree of life, the main branch of the divine tree of life turned into a ray of light and entered his body. At the same time, Duan Lingtian came back to his senses and looked inside himself. When he discovered the location of the main branch of the divine tree of life, he was scared out of his wits again. Heavens! What did he see? The main branch of the divine tree of life was like the roots of an old tree, tightly entrenched in his heart. At the same time, a powerful life force surged into his heart and spread throughout his body. Chapter 2981. However, even after Duan Lingtian had retracted his aura, he could still clearly feel the boundless vitality in his body. However, it was no longer as ostentatious as before. At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt as though his entire body was filled with vitality. It was as though he had been reborn. What's the divine tree of life? I feel like every single part of my body has been infused with an extremely powerful life force. Under such circumstances, I wonder if my recovery ability will be as good as the tree of life's main branch. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he recalled what had happened during the auction in the solitary nation. At that time, the old man on the auction stage had almost severed the main branch of the divine tree of life. However, in just a few breaths, the branch had returned to its original state. With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes and looked at his left arm. In the next moment he raised his right arm and a faint beam of light swept past his left arm, leaving a wound that was 1 inch deep. Normally, with his physique as an overarching heavenly supreme celestial, he would be able to heal such a wound in just a day even if he did not use his celestial origin energy or take any pills. However, as soon as the wound appeared, Duan Lingtian was shocked to discover that the wound on his arm had disappeared. Although he did not use his celestial origin energy or take any pills to heal the wound, it only took him 2 breaths to heal it completely. In the time of 2 breaths, Duan Lingtian witnessed his wound wriggling and healing at an extremely exaggerated speed. Duan Lingtian was shocked. He did not expect he would have the same recovery ability as the divine tree of life. As soon as the divine tree of life acknowledged you as its master, it shared its recovery ability with you. Duan Lingtian was still in a daze when the Chaos Divine Earth's childish voice rang in his ears again. This is just one of the main branches from the divine tree of life. One of the main branches of the divine tree of life. How many main branches does the divine tree of life have? Duan Lingtian asked curiously. Apart from the main trunk, the divine tree of life has a total of 80 main branches. Including the main trunk, it has 81 main branches, the same number as the main branches in the Devata realms. However, what you've obtained is only one of the 80 main branches of the divine tree of life that's inferior to the main trunk. Just this main branch alone possesses such amazing self-healing and recovery abilities. You can imagine how terrifying the self-healing and recovery abilities of a complete tree of life are. The Chaos Divine Earth's voice when it reached the end of its sentence, its voice trembled slightly. It was clear it knew how terrifying a complete divine tree of life was. I've only obtained one of the main branches of the divine tree of life? Apart from the main trunk, it's one of the other main branches of the main trunk? Duan Lingtian was shocked. He had thought that the main branch of the tree of life he had obtained must be very important to the tree of life, since it possessed such terrifying self-healing abilities. It did not cross his mind that it was only one of the main branches of the divine tree of life. Moreover, it was one of the main branches that was not that important. Although you've only obtained a small part of the divine tree of life, it's enough to show how lucky you are. This isn't something an ordinary person can possess. The Hongmeng divine tree continued, you've already seen the regenerative ability of this small branch of the divine tree of life. You can imagine how powerful the complete divine tree of life is. It's not something an ordinary person can destroy. Moreover, the divine tree of life can only be found in the realms of gods. There's only one divine tree of life in each realm of gods. At this moment, Duan Lingtian interrupted the Chaos Divine Earth. Realms of gods? Duan Lingtian immediately thought of the divine offering land where Kerr and his family and friends were. Could the divine offering land be the realm of gods that the Chaos Divine Earth had mentioned? Duan Lingtian thought so because of the strength of the people from the divine offering land. Kerr's cousin in her past life, Yun Qingyan, had easily defeated the sword saint, Feng Qingyang. Although they were not master and disciple, Feng Qingyang was forced to flee to the Azura Hell, one of the 7 deadliest places in the Devata realms. At that time, Feng Qingyang was already the heavenly emperor of a Devata realm, the solitary destructive heaven. The divine offering land is separated from the Devata realms and the mundane realms. It's a realm created by a supreme powerhouse. Duan Lingtian remembered the words of Xia Jie, Kerr's third uncle in her past life. For this reason, When the Chaos Divine Earth mentioned the realms of gods, the first thing that came to his mind was the Divine Offering Land. What? Boy, you haven't heard of the realms of gods? The Chaos Divine Earth asked when it saw Duan Lingtian's reaction. It's not surprising that you haven't heard of it. After all, you're still far from knowing about the realms of gods. The realms of gods. Are they superior to the Devata realms? Duan Lingtian asked. Sort of. The Chaos Divine Earth replied. Sort of? What do you mean by that? Duan Lingtian frowned. The realms of gods are much smaller than the Devata realms. However, the powerhouses in the realms of gods are much stronger than those in the Devata realms, the Chaos Divine Earth said. The Chaos Divine Earth said, since ancient times there have only been 18 realms of gods. It said that the 18 realms of gods were created by 18 supreme powerhouses. They're different from Devata realms and mundane realms. The former is created by humans while the latter is created by humans. Supreme powerhouses, Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like the Divine Offering Land was indeed one of the realms of gods. Moreover, there were only 18 realms of gods like the Divine Offering Land since ancient times. In the beginning, only the family and friends of the 18 supreme powerhouses and their descendants lived in the realms of gods. Later on, their descendants would enter the Devata realms to look for their partners and bring them back to the realms of gods. As time passed, more and more people came to the realms of gods. Some of them even wanted to enter the realms of gods to break through the shackles of becoming a celestial emperor and become a god. This was because there were many people who were stronger than celestial emperors in the realms of gods. They were called gods. Their strength was far stronger than celestial emperors. Some of them could even easily defeat heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. The Chaos Divine Earth's voice grew louder as it spoke. A hint of warning could be heard in its voice as it continued to say, for this reason, boy, you might think that heavenly emperors in the Devata realms are invincible. As Duan Lingtian continued to communicate with the Chaos Divine Earth, he gained a deeper understanding of the realms of gods. The Divine Offering Land was indeed one of the realms of gods. Since ancient times, there were only 18 realms of gods. It was not because there were only 18 supreme powerhouses in the realms of gods. It was because there were only 18 realms of gods in the realms of gods. Once a new supreme powerhouse was born, as long as he could kill another supreme powerhouse, he would be able to destroy the other supreme powerhouse's realms of gods and create his own realms of gods. On the other hand, if one was killed instead, he would die, let alone create his own realms of gods. Apart from that, 6 of the realms of gods existed in the same space, parallel to each other. Every 10,000 years, 2 of the realms of gods would collide with each other, and this would last for 1,000 years. At that time, the realms of gods would tremble, and the spatial passages leading to the Devata realms would be closed. During this time, those who were in the Devata realms would not be able to return to their realms of gods, and those who were in the Devata realms would not be able to return to their realms of gods. It seems like the Divine Offering Land and another realm of gods gave me these 1,000 years of time, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Moreover, the Divine Offering Land is going to enter an eventful period, so Kerr won't be forced to marry during this time. However, once peace is restored in the Divine Offering Land, Kerr will be forced to marry. Kerr's father and Yun Qingyan will threaten Kerr with the lives of my family and friends. Duan Lingtian clenched his fists when he thought about this. His eyes were bloodshot as he thought to himself, I'm too weak. I'm too weak now. There are many gods in the realms of gods. Many of them are even stronger than heavenly emperors. After learning about the existence of the realms of gods, Duan Lingtian felt even more insignificant. Although the realms of gods were not as big as the Devata realms, the heaven and earth spirit energy in them was much more abundant than in the Devata realms. It was difficult for a Devata realm to produce a god that was stronger than a celestial emperor. However, the realms of gods could easily produce a god. This was the biggest difference between the realms of gods and the Devata realms. Boy, do you know how the supreme powerhouses who created the realms of gods were born? The Chaos Divine Earth asked with a chuckle. How? Duan Lingtian asked. Most supreme powerhouses have at least one of the 5 divine elements with them. Most of their strength comes from the 5 divine elements, the Chaos Divine Earth said. Duan Lingtian nodded. The final form of the divine elements? Duan Lingtian was confused. He had 3 divine elements by his side, so he naturally knew how difficult it was for the divine elements to transform and evolve into their final forms. Yes. The Chaos Divine Earth continued to say, the 5 divine elements can help any living being become a supreme powerhouse. Once the omnipotent expert is born, The final form of the 5 divine elements will also be born at the instant of the omnipotent expert's birth. By borrowing the power that appeared at the same time as the omnipotent expert's birth, they will be able to give birth to their own bodies. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.